Chapter 423. In the arena, Yi Qinghan was piloting the mecha, while Dong Wangyu sat in the co-pilot seat. He handed over all the control buttons and techniques to Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan quickly integrated into the mecha. It felt like a soft armor that could completely integrate with the body. Who will be my opponent? Let me try, Yi Qinghan said curiously. I'll do it. Stan Wuxia rushed over and clenched his fist. His golden aura surged into the sky as he punched through space and smashed towards the mecha. Yi Qinghan controlled the mecha to dodge. He waved his fist and smashed it towards Stan Wuxia. However, he realized that Stan Wuxia seemed to be going all out and was using all his strength to block the attack. He almost destroyed the mecha and retreated. Use the radar to lock onto him first before firing the energy cannon, Dong Wangyu said calmly. Yi Qinghan continued to operate the mecha. Stan Wuxia's figure was locked onto. No matter how he moved, he couldn't dodge the attack. A big hole appeared in the chest of the mecha. The nuclear energy inside the mecha exploded and continued to absorb the spiritual energy in the surroundings, turning it all into energy. The attack was completed in an instant. The energy cannon could actually track Stan Wuxia's movements. No matter how Stan Wuxia tried to escape, he couldn't escape the pursuit of the energy cannon. Take it head-on. Let me see the power of the energy cannon, Yi Qinghan said calmly. He was confident that the energy cannon wouldn't be able to hurt Stan Wuxia. Stan Wuxia's blood was boiling. His golden hair fluttered as he shouted angrily and punched the energy cannon. Boom! The shockwave almost shattered the array of the arena. The spirit crystals under his feet cracked and turned into dust before disappearing without a trace. Thud, thud, thud. Stan Wuxia took a few steps back to ease the impact. Although he wasn't injured, his mecha was shattered and became tattered. He was in a sorry state. Yi Qinghan was surprised. He didn't expect this mecha to be able to use the essence force of heaven and earth to unleash such a powerful attack. Strength, different paths lead to the same goal. In the end, they all used the essence of spiritual energy, the nuclear energy. However, what martial artists used was quantity. It was very rough, but what the mecha used was quality. A single nuclear energy could unleash such a terrifying power. Such a theory made Yi Qinghan's eyes lit up. The amount of spiritual energy of martial artists was definitely not small. If every nuclear energy was used to unleash its strongest power, wouldn't the same amount of spiritual energy would be tens of thousands of times stronger? However, this kind of energy wasn't easy to control. It required a powerful soul to control it and a powerful physical body. However, Yi Qinghan didn't lack either. After that, Yi Qinghan tested the radar of the mecha in the illusion. Just as Dong Wangyu said, the radar of the mecha had a huge flaw. It couldn't sense that it was in an illusion at all. He could use this to make the mecha kill each other. After getting out of the mech, Yi Qinghan immediately issued a summons to the world, requesting the leaders of all the organizations in the endless universe to report to the mad sect of the imperial region. Although he was so domineering and arrogant, other than a few reclusive families, everyone else came. The Lulan dynasty, the dynasties of the myriad races, the royal bloodline, the Dao realm Holy Land, the ancient massacre god, Xiaoqiue of the heavenly dragon sacred dynasty, and the divine ghost sect all rushed to the mad sect from their respective territories. I need a unified, endless universe. There are no factions. I hope you can cooperate with me. Fight against the forbidden land, fight against the mechanical civilization. Yi Qinghan looked down at everyone. His firm will left no room for discussion. How do we unify? Shen Ke frowned. As the sect master of the divine ghost sect, and now that he had become a fake emperor, he obviously didn't want to listen to the orders of others. Yi Qinghan was no exception. There are no other dynasties, no races, no Dao realm Holy Land, and no ancient massacre god. I need a unified army. They will only listen to one order, and that is the order of the Endless Dynasty. The Endless Dynasty represents the will of the endless universe. Yi Qinghan said indifferently. Do you think it's possible? Shin Kei's lips curled up slightly as he asked arrogantly. You can disagree, but when you are attacked by the Forbidden Land or the mechanical civilization, the Endless Dynasty will not save you because you no longer belong to the endless universe. Yi Qinghan looked coldly at Shin Quebec. There was no need to compromise now. In this era, strength was the law. I can tell everyone frankly that what we are facing now is a forbidden land and a mechanical civilization that is not inferior to the endless universe. They have a deep-rooted hatred for martial artists. The racial hatred far surpasses the hatred between the myriad races and the human race. Between us and them, there is only killing. Only by suppressing them with strength can we be qualified to negotiate. If we want to win, we must be united. If we want to rely on disunity and fight for ourselves, we can't even win against the mechanical civilization, let alone the Forbidden Land. Yi Qinghan looked at everyone and said in a deep voice. Everyone was silent. They were all thinking. There are more than 30 great emperors left in the Forbidden Land. There are also a few old monsters in the depths of the Forbidden Land. They are people from the era of legends. Do you think we have a chance of winning? Yi Qinghan asked in a low voice. Everyone's expression changed greatly and they shook their heads. I support Brother Yi in building the Endless Dynasty, Xia Qiue said firmly. Lu Outyan smiled. Everything that he had started because of Yi Qinghan and ended because of him. It was not a big deal. Moreover, between brothers, it was not about who ordered who. It was about who was right. My Lulan dynasty agrees to build the Endless Dynasty, Lu Outyan said indifferently. Lulan dynasty had the final say and Lu Outyan had the final say. Now that the strongest power in the universe had announced that they supported Yi Qinghan, the people of the other powers hesitated. Di Shang sighed. The ancient massacre god represented glory. Now that it had ended in his hands, he was somewhat reluctant. However, he did not think too much and nodded in agreement to Yi Qinghan's request. The myriad tribes have no problem with that. However, there are only a few experts left in the myriad tribes. I hope that Brother Yi can consider the danger of our tribe and not disregard their safety. Heavenly Monkey King also stood out and nodded in agreement. The 9 Dao realm holy lands of the past, other than a portion that had been destroyed, only a few were left. Now that they were weak, they could not survive without Yi Qinghan. They could only nod in agreement. Who has the final say in the Endless Dynasty? Shin Kei asked in a deep voice. When it comes to war, everyone has the final say. When it comes to strategy, Xia Qiue and Lu Outyan have the final say. Yi Qinghan replied without hesitation. Who is the leader? There needs to be a leader, right? Shin Kei asked coldly. Yi Qinghan grinned and said indifferently, if you have the qualifications, you can be the leader. Do you expect everyone to kneel and worship the leader? Everyone laughed. They were all top-notch experts. They would only kneel when they saw a great emperor. Among those of the same realm, who would kneel and worship another. Shin Kei's face turned slightly red, and he did not say anything. After Shin Kei fell silent, Yi Qinghan shrugged and said, I am not interested in the position of Emperor of the Endless Dynasty. Everyone, vote. No matter who is elected, you must remember that water can float a boat, but it can also sink a boat. If you become the leader, you must seek a way to survive for the Endless Dynasty and not abuse your power for personal gain. Yi Qinghan was not interested. Everyone looked at Di Shang. In terms of strength and prestige, other than Yi Qinghan, only Di Shang had the qualifications. Di Shang waved his hand and said hoarsely, If you want this old man to lead the charge, I will not frown. If you want me to lead the Endless Dynasty, I really do not have the ability. Everyone fell silent and pondered. The position of Emperor could be big or small, and it was not so easy to decide. How about I be the Emperor of the Endless Dynasty? A clear voice broke the silence of the Kuang sect. Shenong Qinyan was carried in by the ghost emperor and the others, and she said with a smile. Everyone was speechless. This little elf was really hard to deal with. Her cultivation was terrifying, and her methods were terrifying. Even Lu Ao Tian, who had the Lu Lan dynasty, did not dare to provoke her, let alone others. You? Why don't you let me be the emperor? Xia Zi Luo did not give any face and said disdainfully. Yo, little miss, how is this queen inferior to you? Shino Qinyan straightened her proud posture and mocked back. Xia Zi Luo was dressed in men's clothing, looking valiant, but her figure was covered. Compared to Shenong Qinyan, she was indeed a little inferior. She was instantly filled with disdain and coldly said, leading the endless dynasty is not a competition of whose chest is bigger. Then you admit that your chest is not as good as mine. Then let's compete with our brains. Between the two of us, who do you think is smarter? What does everyone think? Shenong Qinyan said proudly. Everyone. Xia Zi Luo was not good with words. She clenched her fist and said coldly, whether it is my chest, my brain, or my fist, I am bigger than you. If you are not convinced, I don't mind teaching you a lesson and letting you know that you must be humble. Oh, I really can't see how you are humble. Let's compete, who is afraid of who? I want to crush you in all aspects. No matter what, if I lose, I will call you Big Sister. From now on, I will follow your lead. Shenong Qinyan stood up proudly and pointed at Xia Zi Luo, directly declaring war. Yi Qinghan rolled his eyes and sighed inwardly. Why did beautiful women fight the moment they met? It was completely damaging to the image of a goddess. I want to accept you as my sister, who is not making any progress, and teach you a lesson on behalf of the human ancestor. How do you think we should compete? If you win, I will make you the empress of the endless dynasty. Xia Zi Luo said impatiently. Yi Qinghan wanted to end this farce but was stopped by Xia Qiue. Xia Qiue shook her head and said, Brother Yi, don't be anxious. If little sister can really subdue Shenong Qinyan, our dynasty will definitely be able to win against the forbidden grounds. The poison in her body can kill a great emperor. Jian Qinxue curled her lips. She was very disdainful of this big-breasted but brainless woman. She had a gentle personality and did not want to participate in this brainless competition at all. Everyone was speechless. They actually wanted to compete in the size of their breasts. Who was going to be the judge? At this moment, the parrot jumped out and smiled wickedly. Two beauties, do you need a judge? My fiery golden eyes can find the most precious treasures in the world and can also observe anything to the smallest detail. I can judge the size. Yi Qinghan covered his face and felt ashamed. He sighed inwardly. He had lived a glorious life, but how could he have accepted such a shameless spirit pet? Kacha, Xia Zi Luo clenched her fist and sneered. All right, as long as you dare to enter the room, I can let you be the judge. The divine bird trembled and directly went back into Yi Qinghan's body. It was most afraid of this woman in its life. She spoke with her fists and never used her brain. Who will be the judge? I don't believe Jian Qinxue and Jin Yan. Shenong Qinyan seemed to have offended Jian Qinxue and Jin Yan and was unwilling to believe them. Then let Yi Qinghan be the judge. Xia Zi Luo said without hesitation. Boom. Yi Qinghan staggered and fell from the chair. He looked at Xia Zi Luo speechlessly. This was asking for his life. Chapter 424. Everyone laughed. It was hard to accept the grace of two beauties, not to mention two of them. Yi Qinghan did not dare to accept it, and Emperor Yi was already staring at him with warning. Forget it, I can't be the judge. There's no need to compete with breasts, right? Let's move on to the next round. Yi Qinghan stood up and waved his hand. No. No one has ever dared to talk to me like that in my life. I want to win against her in everything. You'll be the judge. You're lucky. Shenong Qingyan said angrily. No. I'll be the judge. Emperor Yi walked out with Medusa. The two beauties made Shenong Qingyan and Xia Ziluo pale in comparison. I don't agree. Xia Ziluo immediately retorted. In terms of grudges, she fought with Emperor Yi whenever she saw him. It would be strange if she could be the judge. Does winning or losing make a difference to you? Anyway, I won't agree to be the Empress of Endless Dynasty. Emperor Yi said coldly. Of course there's a difference. At least I won against her. Shenong Qingyan looked at Xia Ziluo provocatively and said proudly. You're crazy. Emperor Yi gave his most pertinent evaluation. You're the one who's crazy. If not for your human emperor body, I'll shut you up forever. Shenong Qingyan's breath stopped, and a murderous intent flashed in her eyes. Master, give the order, and I'll slaughter this group of people. The ghost emperor exuded a gloomy ghost energy and said indifferently. The atmosphere in Kuang's sect was as cold as ice. All the heroes took out their divine weapons. Okay. I'll be the judge. However, I hope that no matter who wins or loses, you have to keep your promise. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Yi Qinghan stood up and looked at Shenong Qingyan. He felt that she was more dangerous than Medusa. Letting Xia Ziluo take her in might be the best way. He was not sure if Xia Ziluo could win in terms of breasts, but based on strength, Xia Ziluo would definitely not lose. Emperor Yi was a little unwilling, but Shenong Qingyan was simply too overbearing. She had too many poisons on her. She really suspected that human ancestor Shenong was a poison doctor and not a divine doctor. Yi Qinghan and Xia Ziluo arrived at the side chamber. Only the three of them were there, and the atmosphere became extremely awkward. Xia Ziluo cleanly took off her clothes, revealing her voluptuous figure that was not at all inferior to Shenong Qingyan's. Outside, the heroes grinned from ear to ear while Medusa snorted coldly. A murderous glint flashed across her eyes. Not long after, Yi Qinghan hurriedly exited the side chamber, not daring to tarry in the slightest. Emperor Ye's expression was much better. After all, no one could watch two stunning beauties come out so quickly. Yi Qinghan had done it. Medusa watched as Yi Qinghan walked out expressionlessly. There was a strange look in her eyes. Clearly, she couldn't believe that a man could walk out like that. Was he really a man? Brother Yi, who's the winner? Everyone asked curiously. Shenong Qingyan wins. Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. At this moment, Xia Ziluo's face turned ashen. She glared fiercely at Yi Qinghan, while Shenong Qingyan's face was filled with arrogance. Her expression was even more despicable than the parrot's. Everyone immediately held back their laughter. Offending the furious Xia Ziluo at this time would definitely not end well. Comparing brains, I think even 10 of you wouldn't be a match for me. Shenong Qingyan was even more arrogant. She was extremely disdainful of Xia Ziluo. Big breasts but no brains, I'm 10,000 times better than you. Xia Ziluo coldly replied. Hee, I'm good at this. I'll provide you with 3 questions. Whoever can answer 2 of them will be the winner. Whoever wins will not only win over the other, I'll also provide you with the location of the strongest godly medicine. How about it? The parrot rushed out and looked at the two provocatively. Okay. Xia Ziluo and Shenong Qingyan said in unison. Then if you can't answer, you'll have to listen to my master in the future. You're not allowed to disobey. Otherwise, your ancestors will be struck by lightning when they die. You'll never be able to prove your Tao. You'll be struck by lightning when you go out, and you'll be pressed down by ghosts when you sleep. The parrot said sharply. The two, everyone, what? You two don't dare? Didn't you say that you're very smart? If you don't dare, just nod and admit that the other party has won, the parrot provoked. I don't have any objections. If I can't answer a single question, I'll listen to Yi Qinghan. I won't even have a problem sleeping with him. However, there's nothing in this world that I don't know. I know the ancient times and the future. I think I'll win for sure. Shen Nongqingyan was proud. She had read many ancient books over the years and knew everything about the ancient times. There was no need for her to be afraid of a parrot. Xia Ziluo's breathing quickened. She knew that the parrot was a trap, but she didn't want to admit defeat. She nodded and agreed. The parrot sat on Yi Qinghan's shoulder and nibbled on a spirit fruit. It asked leisurely, "The universe is full of stars. Who can use the fastest and simplest method to say how many stars there are in the universe?" A black line appeared on Shino Qingyan's forehead. Who the hell would do such a senseless thing? Since ancient times, no one had ever done such a thing. Who knew how many stars there were in the universe? Xia Ziluo couldn't help but look at Xia Qiue. She found that he was also frowning. He didn't know how to quickly find out how many stars there were in the universe. Yi Qinghan rolled his eyes. He seemed to have guessed the answer. If you don't know, then don't waste time. Just admit it. I'll give you the second question, the parrot said proudly. I don't know. Shen Nongqingyan said angrily. I don't know either, Xia Ziluo said through gritted teeth. Everyone looked at each other, uncertain. Could it be that the parrot wanted to trap Xia Ziluo and Shen Nongqingyan? When the parrot saw the two shaking their heads, it couldn't stop laughing. It calmed down with great difficulty and then asked seriously, in the early days of the immemorial era, in order to punish traitors, the boundless universe created a prison in a different space. It was called the immemorial purgatory. You can only enter the immemorial purgatory, but you can't leave. However, there is yin and yang between heaven and earth. Everything has a flaw. Yi Qinghan was even more speechless. Those who hadn't entered the immemorial purgatory definitely wouldn't know the answer. However, in the boundless universe, Yi Qinghan was the first person to walk out of the immemorial purgatory. He didn't say how he came out, so no one else would know. The parrot clearly didn't want them to answer any of the questions. The two could only shake their heads again. This time, even Medusa didn't understand. The third question. My master has a divine snake. It can be big or small, thick or thin. It can kill until heroes tremble, and it can make you beg for mercy. The parrot's words became more and more vulgar. Everyone held their stomachs and laughed. The two beauties, on the other hand, were holding their stomachs and laughing. It was obvious that they had misunderstood, but they didn't know that they had fallen into the parrot's trap. The parrot asked seriously, "Do you know when this divine snake will come in handy?" On the bed. Dual cultivation, Xia Ziluo and Shen Nongqingyan said at the same time, afraid that they would be a step too late. Congratulations to you. You even know how to answer first. Unfortunately. The parrot pretended to pause, then laughed. You call this smart? You two idiots, you didn't get a single one right. Impossible. The two stood together and angrily rebuked at the same time. Let me announce the answer. The third answer is so simple, yet you got it wrong. The parrot laughed loudly, and with a claw, it pulled the multicolored snake out. With a sly smile, it said, "Such a powerful divine snake can only come in handy when facing an enemy. As for when on the bed, my master doesn't use a snake, but a dragon from his body." Ahahaha! Heroes. Xia Ziluo and Shen Nongqingyan couldn't be blamed for thinking the wrong way. Everyone else also thought the wrong way. What's more, the two of them were worried that the other party would answer first. Who had the time to think too much? Then what about the first and second questions? Shen Nongqingyan was flustered and exasperated. In her life, she had always been tricked by others. Today, she was actually tricked by a lowly bird. She almost flew into a rage out of humiliation. The first question: there are a total of 100 million stars in the universe. Yi Qinghan curled his lips and said a number. How did you know? Xia Ziluo asked curiously. I used the simplest and fastest method, and that is to make up an answer. In any case, if you think my answer is wrong, you can go and count it and verify it. Yi Qinghan shrugged and said, "Ha ha ha, master is still the smartest. Two women with big breasts but no brains want to be empresses? More like imperial concubines." The parrot laughed loudly. Heroes, Xia Ziluo and Shen Nongqingyan were speechless. They were about to explode. As for the second question, I don't think you need to know because you can't enter the immemorial purgatory. Don't ask for the answer, I definitely know because I fell into the immemorial purgatory these years. It took me 500 years to find my way out. Yi Qinghan said indifferently. Can this test your intelligence? The Ghost Emperor reminded Shen Nongqingyan. He didn't want Shen Nongqingyan to be taken in by Yi Qinghan. Since the Ghost Emperor has raised his doubts, I will personally set a question. There is no technique to speak of. It can only be solved with wisdom and true strength. If either of you can solve it, then the third test will be the answer. Yi Qinghan's aura changed, and the 5 elements around his body became chaotic. Endless immortal light rushed into the sky. He reached out and directly grabbed the 2 people, pressing them into the martial arts arena. The 5 elements dragons intertwined, forming a 5 elements great array. I will leave a life gate in the 5 elements great array. As long as either of you can find the life gate in 5 minutes and break out of my imprisonment, you will win. A majestic voice rang out, shaking mountains and rivers. The powerful will made it so that no one dared to go against it. Yi Qinghan was so confident that he could trap 2 true super experts at the same time. Di Shang was shocked. From the outside, he could clearly see that Yi Qinghan was not only using the 5 elements, but also space, order, destruction, and other great Daos. The energy grew and multiplied endlessly. As long as Yi Qinghan did not nod, the people trapped inside would not be able to escape even if they were exhausted to death. If they wanted to leave, they had to find the life gate or have a cultivation much higher than Yi Qinghan's. Xiao, 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 the 5 battle dragons shone brilliantly, and immortal light fluctuated, forming a huge cage. It was shocking. Xia Ziluo and Shen Nongqingyan attacked madly. They exhausted all their strength, but they couldn't shake the great array at all. They couldn't help but be shocked. They didn't expect Yi Qinghan to be so much stronger than them with just his strength. The 2 of them calmed down and searched for the life gate. Time passed slowly, but from the inside, the great array was completely natural and flawless. There was no life gate at all. If you admit defeat, I will show you the life gate, Yi Qinghan said calmly. The 2 of them nodded dispiritedly, completely surrendering. Chapter 425. In the martial arts arena, immortal light shone in all directions as the 5 dragons roamed the sky, their auras filling the sky. Xia Ziluo and Shino Qingyan were helpless. The 5 elements were gathered, and no one could break it. The 2 of them could not see where the gate of life was, and the heroes outside could not see where it was either. Yi Qinghan saw the 2 of them nod and admit defeat. He then made the water dragon do something else, and it returned to normal. The 2 of them reacted at the same time. The water dragon was not formed by the origin of water. It was missing one of the 5 elements, and the water dragon was the gate of life. The 5 dragons dispersed and returned to Yi Qinghan's body. Yi Qinghan had his hands behind his back as he looked at the 2 goddess-like women. He did not look at them and did not have any evil thoughts. Fairy Shenong, I respect you as the daughter of the human ancestor and do not want to make things difficult for you. I also hope that you can cooperate with me to protect the human race. After all, if the human ancestor of the Shenong clan was still here, he would be like me, protecting the endless universe with all his heart. Yi Qinghan said in a low voice. Shino Qingyan curled her lips and did not agree. The endless universe is in troubled times now. If the skin does not exist, where will the hair go? Although you have been sealed since you were young, I hope that you can be more mature. I do not expect you to work hard for the human race, but don't drag us down either. Otherwise, what difference is there between you and a traitor? Yi Qinghan frowned and reprimanded. At this moment, Yi Qinghan's aura became dignified and inviolable. The Emperor's aura pressed down on Shino Qingyan, and his eyes emitted a terrifying will that could not be defied. Shino Qingyan looked at Yi Qinghan in shock. She had seen this kind of gaze often before. It was the gaze of the Shennong clan. Normally, he did not show his might, but once he did, it would definitely cause a landslide. Alright, don't look at me like that. I will listen to you at most. Shino Qingyan was scared by the gaze and took a few steps back. Who was Shino Qingyan? She was someone who would never admit defeat verbally, but once she admitted defeat, her heart would also admit defeat. Xia Ziluo didn't need to be said. Although she was a little domineering, her mind was still clear. She wasn't a playboy princess. At least, Yi Qinghan could suppress her. Yi Qinghan retreated and scanned the crowd. Since no one is speaking, I recommend someone. Lu Aotian, he will be the ruler of Endless Dynasty. Xia Qiue will be the imperial teacher. How about it? Yi Qinghan, you said it yourself. In these troubled times, shouldn't you at least find someone who can lead the troops? Rather than looking for Lu Aotian, why don't you do it yourself? Shen Ke coldly said. Then let's adopt a voting system and find someone that everyone is convinced of. That way they won't have to make excuses for not obeying orders in the end, Qitian Monkey King replied. I recommend Yi Qinghan. I'll stay with you for the time being. I agree as well. Agreed. In an instant, all of the powers expressed their agreement, including Shen Ke, who nodded in agreement. At this moment, the only one who wasn't happy was the Ghost Emperor. He stared at Yi Qinghan with eyes full of killing intent. If there was a chance, he would definitely be the first to kill Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan nodded and said, Since everyone thinks so highly of me, it would be impolite for me to refuse. Since you've chosen me, please believe in me. Any order that I give is not for myself. If someone deliberately disobeys orders, I will first settle the internal problems before dealing with external problems. Speaking of which, the next step is to reorganize the various armies and unify them. Then we will wipe out the hidden aristocratic families. Those who don't submit will be killed. I will not allow anyone to betray me at the start of the war. Yi Qinghan's aura exploded. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Everyone nodded. No one wanted to be stabbed in the back. Everyone, retreat. 3 days later, reorganize the army and prepare to deal with the attacks of the Forbidden Area and the Mechanical Civilization, Yi Qinghan said. Everyone retreated. Only the core members of Kuang's sect were left. Shennong Qingyan did not leave either. Yi Qinghan looked at the Ghost Emperor's eyes. A wave of annoyance and killing intent flashed across his eyes. The Ghost Emperor's heart trembled. He actually saw the end of his life in Yi Qinghan's eyes. Shennong Qingyan, on the other hand, stared at Medusa with her eyes wide open in disbelief. She thought of what Yi Qinghan had asked about a few days ago and immediately exploded. Yi Qinghan, you actually took in an evolving Medusa. Do you not want to live anymore? Yi Qinghan felt his head swell. Everything was piled up together and still needed to be resolved. A slight mistake could cause a huge change. Everyone disperse. I need to think about it. Yi Qinghan waved his hand impatiently. This is the record of Medusa. Take a look at it yourself. Shennong Qingyan threw out a metal scroll and then left with the Ghost Emperor and the others. Yi Qinghan flipped through the metal scroll and sat on the chair dispiritedly. He was speechless for a long time. Medusa was an existence that could cause a storm in the desolate era. If she was in the current era, no one would be able to stop her madness. Yi Qinghan was sure that the Medusa recorded in the book was the Medusa in front of him. She looked gentle like water, but her heart was actually so evil. She viewed all living beings as ants. My son, Medusa, follow me. Yi Qinghan finished speaking and led Emperor Yi and the Ghost Emperor into the side hall. With the protection of the array, no one could disturb them. The room was decorated simply and elegantly. Yi Qinghan placed the metal scroll on the table and gestured for the two to flip through it. Medusa, I would like to ask, are you the person recorded in the book? Yi Qinghan stared at the young girl and asked in a low voice. Medusa picked up the metal scroll and casually flipped through a few pages. Memories of the past flooded her mind, and her expression changed slightly. She raised her head and looked into Yi Qinghan's eyes. Those deep eyes could not tolerate lying, so she could only nod her head. Emperor Yi took the metal scroll and flipped through the records. He suddenly sat down on the chair, his eyes filled with disbelief. He could not imagine that the sister who had doted on him and accompanied him all these years was actually a ruthless and murderous madwoman who took pleasure in slaughtering all living beings. Then tell me, did you do this on purpose? Or is it your nature that cannot be controlled? Don't lie to me. You can't lie to me. Yi Qinghan asked in a low voice. Medusa's expression was malevolent, as though she was struggling. Her jade-like hands gripped Emperor Yi, not daring to let go. I didn't want to kill, but I wanted to kill every powerful being I saw. In the end, I lost my mind from the slaughter. As long as a living being appears in my line of sight, I will kill. Medusa lowered her head, not daring to look directly into Yi Qinghan's eyes. You hate the human race and all living beings because they will look for you when you are evolving and want to eat you? Yi Qinghan asked with a frown. Yes, I hate all living beings. My parents were swallowed alive when they were evolving. It was because they were too merciful. Medusa roared angrily. As for your effects, my son and I already know. Have you seen our greed? Is my son using his life to protect you? Yi Qinghan clenched his iron fists and asked in return. I won't kill her. She is the only person I acknowledge. I definitely won't kill her. Medusa's voice became softer and softer, because deep down, she was shouting angrily, Kill! Kill! Kill every living being. Now you are hesitating. Yi Qinghan caught Medusa's emotional fluctuations and said coldly, Master, my sister won't kill me. All these years, she has been nurturing me, taking care of me, and doting on me. Emperor Yi held Medusa's hand tightly. His will to protect her was unusually firm. Medusa was very touched. She didn't want to lie to Emperor Yi, so she admitted her feelings and said, I don't have the confidence to control myself. At this moment, Yi Qinghan had a murderous intent. Medusa felt it and retreated behind Emperor Yi. Her body trembled slightly, and she didn't dare to raise her head to look at Yi Qinghan. In the mechanical civilization, the army was ready to move out. There was a total of 300 million soldiers. The 5-star mechas were at the front, the 6-star mechas were in the middle, and the 7-star mechas were split up into smaller groups, forming a sharp blade. There were 10 people in a group, forming a special mecha squad that could kill quasi-emperors. Star Master Pan Jia, you will lead an army of 10 million as the vanguard. Within a month, you must advance through 30 star domains and enter the endless universe. The emperor of the mechanical civilization was high and mighty. Although he was from the mechanical civilization, his cultivation had reached the quasi-emperor realm. Moreover, he was a body refiner, and his physical body was even stronger than Yi Qinghan's by 30%. Yes, your majesty. A strong man bowed and said respectfully. Remember, kill all cultivators above the Tao sovereign realm. Capture all female cultivators alive and reward the soldiers. Capture those with special constitutions. Regardless of whether they are dead or alive, send their corpses back. The emperor of the mechanical civilization said majestically. Forcefully change the education system for every star that we occupy. I want the mechanical civilization to lead the endless universe in my lifetime. The emperor of the mechanical civilization was full of ambition. He looked down at the hundreds of star masters and said in a low voice, Congratulations to your Majesty in advance for descending into the endless universe. Destroy the martial cultivation civilization. The Star Masters all knelt and flattered. At the same time, in the depths of the forbidden area, a shrill roar resounded through the sky. Lin Chenfeng's face was pale. He tore apart several large formations and forcibly snatched the divine medicine and swallowed it. Soon, his face became rosy, but his soul was still weak. All great emperors attack the insane sect. Leave no one alive. Children, the world now belongs to you. Lin Chenfeng roared. The great emperors were shocked. This time, all the great emperors were mobilized. It was not just to destroy the insane sect, but to destroy all living beings. Don't worry, we can give up on the endless planes. I have found a way to go to another plane. From there, we can enter the upper space, the ancient space. Lin Chenfeng was furious. He did not want to hold back anymore. This time, he must kill Yi Qinghan and snatch Medusa's Tao fruit. The great emperors roared. As great emperors, they were all bloodthirsty. They all wanted to return to the upper space, where heroes and races existed together. Boom! The stone tablet outside the forbidden area was shattered. The great emperors led countless quasi-emperors out of the forbidden area. Many quasi-emperors could not withstand the destruction of the order of the outside world. They were directly turned into dust and disappeared without a trace. However, half of them survived. That was still a terrifying number. 39 great emperors were enough to shake the foundation of the endless universe. Even the new great emperors could only defend. Report! Report! All the spies in the endless universe were active. Before the endless dynasty could be completely reorganized, a war broke out. Chapter 426. In troubled times, misfortunes never came singly. The mechanical civilization had chosen to erupt at the same time as the Forbidden Land. This was a coincidence, but it pressured Yi Qinghan so much that he couldn't breathe. Against the Forbidden Land, no matter how many people there were, it was useless. They had to rely on intimidation. To the west of Emperor Abyss City, evacuate everyone, including those from Emperor Abyss City and the insane sect. Yi Qinghan thought for a moment and made the final decision. Not defending? Emperor Abyss City is given away just like that? Di Shang was shocked. This wasn't Yi Qinghan's style at all. Defend. I will defend alone. Medusa will stay behind as well. Everyone else, gather and follow Xia Qiue to the front lines to stop the mechanical civilization. Yi Qinghan's fingertips moved slightly as he spoke resolutely. What? No way. This is too dangerous. Di Shang firmly disagreed. 39 great emperors. No matter how many people we have, they are all cannon fodder. Why don't we set up an empty city strategy? If they dare to attack, the endless universe will give them away. If they don't dare to attack, we will have a chance to struggle at death's door. Yi Qinghan said calmly. I will go with you. Emperor Yi was even more determined. He definitely didn't want to lose Yi Qinghan a second time. Alright, you follow as well. The rest of you, organize everyone to retreat. I don't have time to explain. Everyone must retreat within 2 hours. Yi Qinghan stood up and directly led Emperor Yi and Medusa to the front lines of Emperor Abyss City. Medusa looked at Yi Qinghan with resentment. He clearly knew that staying here meant death, but he still wanted to leave someone like her, who had no cultivation, here. In the west, dark clouds rolled in the sky. The pressure was terrifying, and the aura of death covered the sky. Yi Qinghan looked at Medusa's resentful eyes and smiled. Do you know why I left you behind? You want to kill me with a borrowed knife, but you don't want my son to resent you, Medusa said coldly. Then are you afraid? Why didn't you let Huang take you away? Yi Qinghan didn't explain anything and asked instead. I've already thought about the outcome of this day. I've already become indifferent to life and death. I don't want to lose my dignity before I die. Medusa leaned against the city wall, unwilling to say anything more. Emperor Yi looked at Yi Qinghan. He was also a little puzzled as to why Yi Qinghan had left a Medusa without any cultivation behind. Yi Qinghan pointed to the western forbidden grounds and whispered, "Who are the forbidden grounds most afraid of?" It was Medusa. Now they dare to attack the imperial region because they know that Medusa is evolving. Without any cultivation, she can't even fly. But if they see that you can still fly, won't they suspect that you aren't in the evolution stage at all, but are luring them to attack? What do you mean? You can't be thinking of relying on me to intimidate the forbidden area, right? Medusa smiled sadly and coldly said, "You want me to intimidate the forbidden area now? You're brainless." Yi Qinghan smiled faintly and whispered, "Let's make a Hail Mary effort. Otherwise, where do you think we can escape to?" After a pause, Yi Qinghan said, "Fairy, if you want to live, listen to me this once. If you can't intimidate them, Huang and I will die with you. There's no need to borrow a knife to kill someone." "How do I cooperate?" Medusa asked coldly. "Treat yourself as a Medusa who hasn't lost her dermic powers. You can be as arrogant as you are usually, but don't try to attack. I will support your flight." "How do you want to fly?" "I will cooperate with you." Yi Qinghan pointed into the void, indicating for her to walk out. A person without dermic powers would definitely die if they fell from such a high city wall. Medusa was puzzled for a moment before she tentatively stepped out. She stepped on the void as though it was flat ground. There were no quintessential essence fluctuations. It was as though the surrounding elements were under her control. No, they were actively cooperating with her. The strong wind blew her pink dress and fluttered Medusa's hair. She was indescribably beautiful. Emperor Yi was shocked, and so was Medusa. Yi Qinghan didn't actively control Medusa's body. She could actually fly. "Don't forget that I have the 5 elements Tao body. The 5 elements in this world are all under my control." Yi Qinghan smiled faintly. "Is Medusa who can fly really in the evolution stage? Even if Lin Chenfeng were here personally, he would hesitate, let alone a group of half-dead great emperors. Fairy, you only need to intimidate them with your words. Don't reveal any flaws. Leave the rest to me." Yi Qinghan took out the mirror of reincarnation and said confidently. Medusa heaved a sigh of relief. As long as Yi Qinghan didn't kill them with a borrowed knife, everything was fine. She took a deep breath and adjusted her state of mind. She raised her aura and said, "Son, play the Burial Emperor chant for us to liven things up." Emperor Yi was delighted. He waved his hand and the human emperor's zither appeared. He gently plucked the strings, and a solemn melody pressed down on the forbidden land. Wung wung wung, the melody spread out in waves, shaking the clouds and stirring up the hearts of the people. It provoked the blood of the heroes within 1,000,000 miles. The people who were retreating all stood up and looked back at the 3 people standing on the city wall. They clenched their fists and wanted to fight the forbidden land with them. "Let's go. We don't have much time left," the ancient massacre god who was organizing the retreat shouted. The city gates opened, but the city protection array wasn't activated. Everyone started to leave quickly, leaving behind an empty city. All the experts in the endless universe rushed to another battlefield, leaving behind these 3 people. One of them didn't even have a cultivation base yet. On the city wall, Medusa floated in the air. The world fell into a dead silence. Other than the solemn melody, there was no other sound. Yi Qinghan stood on the city wall and looked at the beautiful woman. He listened to the solemn melody, and the dragon blood in his body boiled. He adjusted his state to the peak. Lin Chenfeng's divine sense evolved into a Tao body. He personally led a team to kill the monarch domain. As he listened to the solemn melody, he couldn't help but sneer, "You actually know how to send yourself off. Kill." With a furious roar, millions of dead spirits rushed out like ghost soldiers from hell. Many of the dead spirits were riding on eerie white bones and didn't have a real body. The army of dead spirits rushed into the battlefield, shaking heaven and earth. The two sides got closer and closer. When Lin Chenfeng led the army to the outside of Emperor Abyss City, he saw Medusa floating in the air as if she was walking on flat ground. However, there wasn't the slightest fluctuation of true essence. He couldn't help but be shocked. His face was filled with disbelief. "It seems like you guys have forgotten the rules I set for you." Medusa closed her eyes and stood in the air with her hands behind her back. She stopped dancing. "This is impossible. Aren't you evolving?" Lin Chenfeng roared hoarsely. He felt like he had been tricked. "If I didn't do this, would you have attacked? I want to see the scene of you rushing out with an army only to return in disappointment. It would be very spectacular." Medusa pressed on. Her aura rose. Her eyebrows moved slightly, shocking the great emperors into retreating. Back then, when Medusa killed her way into the Forbidden Land, the scene of a peaked great emperor being petrified before he could even reach her was still vivid in their minds. Who wasn't afraid of her? Yi Qinghan was stunned. He didn't expect Medusa to take the initiative to attack the army of dead spirit. He hurriedly signaled Emperor Yi to stay put. He held the mirror of reincarnation and walked forward. "Old Senior Lin, we haven't seen each other for a few days. It seems like you've recovered well." Yi Qinghan shook the mirror of reincarnation and deliberately provoked him. "Yi Qinghan, you guys deliberately lured me to the ultimate heaven sea? You guys planned for me to go in so that you could kill me?" Lin Chenfeng's imagination ran wild. He had already linked Yi Qinghan's death to a scheme. He believed that Yi Qinghan was setting up a big scheme. What else could it be? Do you think that with Medusa's personality, she would walk out of her domain when she's about to evolve and let others discover her existence? Yi Qinghan smiled. "Then," he said regretfully, "it's a pity that my cultivation isn't high enough to kill you completely." Lin Chenfeng was furious. He wanted to send his army to attack the two of them. However, Yi Qinghan had the mirror of reincarnation. Medusa could kill great emperors. Who would dare to make a move? The great emperors didn't dare to make a move. Lin Chenfeng didn't want to face Medusa directly, especially when he wasn't sure if Medusa was really evolving. He was naturally suspicious and cautious. He was afraid that he would be tricked again if he wasn't careful. "You guys go and test if Medusa really has magic power." Lin Chenfeng looked at the two great emperors beside him and said in a low voice. The two great emperors laughed disdainfully and said coldly, "Why don't you go and test it yourself?" The great emperors were relying on the forbidden grounds, not Lin Chenfeng. They hated Lin Chenfeng a lot. Who would test the waters for him? "My target today isn't you guys. As long as you guys return to the forbidden grounds obediently, I won't kill you. After all, no matter how confident I am, I can't kill all of you. I only want Lin Chenfeng's life," Medusa said faintly. Yi Qinghan activated the mirror of reincarnation. The aura of reincarnation descended, causing the many undead spirits to not dare to move. The mirror of reincarnation was an indestructible chaos treasure. Even great emperors would die if they were swept by it, let alone these half-dead spirits. With the mirror of reincarnation, I can kill half of you. However, the other half will escape to different parts of the universe and cause misery and suffering. This is not my goal. My goal is to kill those few people behind the forbidden ground. As long as they can't control the forbidden grounds, your life force won't be stolen by others. You can still live for 10,000 years or even 100,000 years. There's no need for you to do evil with him. This is the fundamental way to resolve the hatred between the forbidden grounds and the endless universe. Great emperors, are you willing to give up your lives for a person who controls you? Yi Qinghan said coldly. Don't listen to his nonsense. Lin Chenfeng reprimanded angrily. Hey children, do you still remember this divine bird? The parrot jumped out and said loudly, "I know how they controlled the forbidden grounds and made you all slaves. All these years, all of you have been deceived. The life force that you worked so hard to kill was taken away by them. Instead, all of you have to bear the punishment of the heavens. Despicable bird! This old man will kill you." Lin Chenfeng was enraged and was about to attack. Yi Qinghan activated the mirror of reincarnation and intimidated millions of dead spirits, causing the heaven and earth to become deathly silent. "You're saying that they really controlled the forbidden grounds to steal our life force?" Everyone was instantly enraged and wanted to tear Lin Chenfeng apart. "Don't listen to his nonsense. The forbidden grounds stole your life force because they needed it. It has nothing to do with me." Lin Chenfeng quibbled. Those who believe you are fools. You and those old fogies used a forbidden technique to control the forbidden grounds and stole the life force of most of the experts to feed it to the divine medicine. Then, they were forced to rush out of the forbidden grounds to steal the life force of other living beings. This cycle repeated over and over again. Their understanding of the great Tao became worse and worse, and their cultivation became weaker and weaker. How could they still have the battle strength of a great emperor? The parrot exposed Lin Chenfeng's evil deeds. The aura of heaven and earth became extremely strange. All the great emperor dead spirits stared coldly at Lin Chenfeng, their killing intent soaring to the sky. "Don't you know what that old despicable bird was like back then? You actually listened to him." Lin Chenfeng roared angrily. Lin Chenfeng, don't try to quibble. Back then, my father had reminded them many times that the forbidden grounds were a poison that couldn't be removed. It would cause them to slowly fall into a hopeless situation and become slaves without dignity. Now, aren't they just as my father predicted? They were deceived by you and forcefully stole their life force to help you recover. If it weren't for them, all of you would have died long ago. The divine bird said coldly. Chapter 427. The cold wind raged violently, tearing apart the heaven and earth. However, the surrounding temperature became scorching hot. The fury was enough to burn the heaven and earth. Millions of dead spirits stared at one person. Among them, there were dozens of great emperors. Although they were all half-crippled, their fury was enough to destroy the universe. Kacha, the sound of bones cracking could be heard. Everyone could not bear it anymore and surrounded Lin Chenfeng. Lin Chenfeng kept retreating. His face was ashen. He hated the parrot to the bone. You actually believed a creature that dared to kill its master? Lin Chenfeng roared. The parrot suddenly burst into tears and roared, "Father, you died so miserably. You played so many great emperors and quasi-emperors so that those old monsters could not toy with the world. You did so much, but before you could tell the world, they tortured you to death. I inherited your will and swore to announce their evil deeds to the world and let them die without a burial place." The great emperors were even more furious when they heard this. "Many of you great emperors have seen my father before. Did he ever remind you that the forbidden land is poison? Did he ask you to leave the forbidden area? For you, he was willing to die to expose the evil deeds of those evil people. Although he failed in the end, he sacrificed himself. Shouldn't you torture that old bastard for him?" The parrot cried. The great emperors were furious. Now that they thought about it, the spirit-devouring divine parrot's father did tell them. Unfortunately, they were blinded by longevity and were deceived for 100,000 or even 1,000,000 years. Boom! One of the great emperors near Lin Chenfeng attacked first. He shattered the ground with a palm strike and a shockwave soared into the sky. Boom, 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 hundreds of experts pounced on Lin Chenfeng, drowning him before he could even speak. No one could withstand the attack of so many great emperors. Even a legendary existence like Lin Chenfeng could not do so. Moreover, he was only a strand of divine sense now. Outside Emperor Abyss City, Mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. It was a mess. There were even cases of people killing each other and devouring each other's life essence. White bones were scattered everywhere. Lin Chenfeng's strand of divine sense was completely destroyed. At the back mountain of the Forbidden Grounds, Lin Chenfeng's main body coughed up blood and collapsed to the ground. He hugged his head and roared in anger. The pain was unbearable. His soul had been forcefully torn apart just like that. It was obvious how much pain he had suffered. At this moment, his body twitched and he soon fainted. Yi Qinghan and Medusa didn't move at all. They stared at the group of immortal emperors. Right now they couldn't retreat. Once they were discovered to be cowards, they would instantly blast the Emperor Abyss City into smithereens, leaving nothing behind. More than 30 great emperors breathed heavily as they stared at the divine bird and Yi Qinghan. It took them a long time to calm down. "Grand emperors," the parrot said hoarsely, "if Father knew that you dared to resist, he would definitely rest in peace." Yi Qinghan asked in a low voice, "Everyone, do you want to fight us to the death, or do you want to find those old bastards in the depths of the Forbidden Grounds and kill them so that you can control the Forbidden Grounds and your own lives and dignity? We want to know who the people in the back of the mountain are. Can you give us an explanation? Their existence doesn't match the actual situation at all." One of the great emperors asked cautiously. Yi Qinghan looked at the parrot. Only Medusa and the parrot knew about their origins. Medusa had to remain aloof, so she needed the parrot to tell her. The parrot said seriously, "Those bastards came from the mythological era, which is the mythological plane. It's because of them that the barbaric era ended so abruptly." Everyone frowned. They didn't know what the mythological upper space was at all. Let's put it this way. The boundless universe can't be called a universe at all. We can call it the boundless planes, which belong to the lower planes. For small planes like the boundless planes, the human sovereign is the peak strength. But for the middle planes and upper planes, the human sovereign is just the beginning. Countless small planes form a middle plane, and countless middle planes form a upper plane. You've only seen the surface of the universe. The parrot said in a low voice. Many of you came from other small planes. You should believe what I say, right? And this beautiful fairy Medusa came from the mythological plane. Her cultivation is much higher than yours. This is the reason why she can kill the great emperors in an instant. Lin Chenfeng and the other old monsters offended someone in the mythological plane and were injured. They forcefully escaped to this small plane. They were on the verge of death. In the end, they relied on the Forbidden Land to survive. All these years, they defied the heavens and seized your good fortune to survive. Until now, they haven't recovered their strength. Otherwise, once they leave the Forbidden Land, the boundless planes would collapse, and everyone in the boundless planes would die. The parrot said half of the truth and half of the lies. It said what it should and shouldn't say. Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows. This parrot hid it really well. He actually didn't manage to find out these memories at all, as expected of a creature that could kill its master. Medusa nodded, agreeing with the divine bird's words. After all, she knew Lin Chenfeng and the others from the mythological plane. The methods of the mythological plane are more complicated and terrifying than you think. Their average lifespan can reach up to 50,000 years, which is longer than the lifespan of the great emperors here. The strongest I've seen lived for 1,000,000 years. Legend has it that one can live forever in the upper plane, but no one knows whether it's true or not. There's no way to verify whether the upper plane even exists. Maybe it's just a virtual plane created by the middle plane to comfort itself. Medusa said in a low voice. How can we go to the middle plane? The great emperors were excited. They finally found a goal to continue fighting for. When your cultivation reaches a certain level, or when your merit reaches a certain level, the power of faith will be generated. Then, a guide will appear and lead you to the middle plane. Unfortunately, you've taken the blame for Lin Chenfeng and the others. There's no way out, Medusa said indifferently. The great emperors roared in anger. No wonder there were some terrifying great emperors who disappeared inexplicably after the desolate era. It turned out that when one's merit reached the highest level, the power of faith would be generated, and the power of faith would be directly led to the middle plane. That old fogey ruined my life. Ah, the great emperors and dead spirits roared in grief and pain. When they thought about how their path to immortality was cut off by their own hands, they were furious. Their hatred for Lin Chunfeng reached the peak. This is the reason why I want to kill them. Their enemies are very powerful and force them to escape to this small plane. In the end, they messed up the space and brought me to this plane. I can't leave, but I hope that after killing these people, their enemies can use their family's power to appear here and lead me back. Medusa took the initiative to lead the great emperors, wanting the Forbidden Land to kill each other. Yi Qinghan's side was getting more and more proactive. The parrot and Medusa threw an entrance of hope to the great emperors. They wanted them to do everything they could to enter the entrance, and the obstacle to the entrance was the old monster in the depths of the Forbidden Land. They wanted them to kill each other, and the human race would benefit. You're not lying to us, right? The great emperors were vigilant. After all these years, they were scared of being lied to. They weren't willing to believe anyone. Medusa raised her head arrogantly and looked at the sky with disdain, which made the great emperors believe her. Fellow Taoists, you are all great emperors. Regardless of whether you can enter the middle-level mythological plane or not, you should give it a try. At least, you can kill Lin Chunfeng and the others and take revenge for the years you were lied to. If you don't dare to kill them, leave them to us. Yi Qinghan sneered. Feather Sky Great Emperor, Silver Wolf Demon Monarch, Mo Zhengsha, and the other great emperors looked at each other and discussed secretly. Soon, they came to a consensus and decided to retreat from the Forbidden Land. They would kill the controller of the Forbidden Land first and recover their strength before doing anything else. Fighting with Yi Qinghan and Medusa now wouldn't benefit them at all. Let's go. It's time to seek justice for the humiliation we suffered all these years. Silver Wolf Demon Monarch was vengeful. He hated Lin Chunfeng and the others to the bone. Swish. Swish, 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 a cold wind blew, sweeping up the yellow sand. The undead army came quickly and retreated even faster. They all wanted to kill the controller and snatch the divine medicine in the Forbidden Land to recover to their peak state. Yi Qinghan and the others looked at the retreating undead army and couldn't help but let out a breath of turbid air. Let's go and take a look. These people and the 4 super experts are fighting. Both sides will definitely suffer great losses. We can clean up the mess and snatch the divine medicine, Parrot suggested excitedly. Yi Qinghan stared at Medusa and Parrot and asked coldly, "Is what you said true?" The parrot made a solemn vow. "I'm telling you the truth." "Humph." Medusa snorted and said disdainfully, "What I said is true. Half of what this lowly bird said is false." "Bullshit. Medusa, do you believe that this divine bird will burn you to death?" Parrot roared. "Am I wrong? Did your father really kill his master for the sake of the common people? Did he kill his master for the sake of those great emperors? Why do I find it so laughable?" Medusa mocked disdainfully. Parrot was weak. Its mouth twitched a few times, but it couldn't refute. "You have a way to cancel the contract, but you didn't tell your master, right? You were just looking for an opportunity, right?" Medusa questioned. "You're talking nonsense. I'm loyal and devoted to my master. I definitely don't have the intention to kill him. Only my master knows how good I am to him. Don't try to sow discord. This is this divine bird's specialty." Parrot immediately roared. "Then why didn't you tell your master that you have a way to cancel the contract?" Medusa found an opportunity to take revenge. Parrot couldn't help but look at Yi Qinghan pitifully. Its loyalty and courage was definitely witnessed by heaven and earth. Seeing the icy flames in Yi Qinghan's eyes, it immediately said solemnly, Master, you're a smart person. You definitely won't let me sow discord, right? AI, forget it. You've been with me for so long. After all, you've saved my life. If you want to leave, just tell me. I'll cancel the contract automatically. You don't have to be so scheming. Yi Qinghan shook his head slightly. He had feelings for the spirit-devouring godly eagle. After all, it had accompanied him for nearly 1,000 years. What? Master? You can't leave this divine bird. This damned snake is taking revenge on me. My mother told me since I was young that the more beautiful a woman is, the more deceptive she is. Don't believe her, Parrot cried. If it left Yi Qinghan in this chaotic autumn, it would definitely die miserably if it met a hothead who didn't listen to its words. Therefore, it wouldn't leave even if Yi Qinghan cancelled the contract and beat it to death. Humph! Emperor Yi and Medusa both snorted. Chapter 428. The parrot's indiscriminate attacks infuriated Emperor Yi. Fortunately, Xia Ziluo and Shenong Qinyan weren't here. Otherwise, there would have been a storm. Yi Qinghan smiled. In terms of deceit, no one could compare to the parrot. As long as this fella didn't cheat him, he could forgive all other small things. I'll go to the Forbidden Grounds to take a look. Wait for me here. Yi Qinghan said softly. I'll go with you, Emperor Yi said without hesitation. What about Medusa? It's not safe to bring her along. She can't even withstand the most basic shockwaves. Yi Qinghan shook his head and said in a deep voice, The two of you stay in Emperor Abyss City. Now that there's no one in Emperor Abyss City, and the experts have all left, it's very safe. I'll be back soon. Yi Qinghan waved his hand and sent Medusa to Emperor Yi. Then, he pounced into the distance alone and followed behind the great emperor, constantly approaching the Forbidden Grounds. Millions of dead spirits rushed towards the Forbidden Grounds aggressively. In the depths of the Forbidden Grounds, Lin Chunfeng struggled to stand up. His body was covered in blood. He woke up the three experts who were in seclusion and said hoarsely, The Forbidden Grounds are in chaos. Prepare to attack and kill all the dead spirit. What's going on? A skinny man frowned and asked in a deep voice. Medusa and that damned devouring spirit eagle revealed the truth. Part of my divine sense has been severely damaged. I don't have much combat strength left. It's up to you guys. Lin Chenfeng coughed out blood and said, That damned bird. I'll tear it apart with my own hands. The man roared. It seemed like he was also deeply injured. Medusa is clearly evolving, but she can still fly. Be careful. Help me get a stock of divine medicine. I need to treat my injuries. Lin Chenfeng was already powerless to break the divine medicine's defensive array. He couldn't help but look at the three. The skinny man made his move and directly shattered a defensive array. He took a stock of divine medicine. He was about to prove his Tao, but unfortunately, he was going to die from the poison. In the back mountain of the Forbidden Grounds, there were at least a dozen such divine herbs. They were all nourished by the vitality and qi of numerous great emperors and quasi-emperors, so their growth speed was abnormally terrifying. Unfortunately, they could not prove their Tao because the four experts did not allow it. If Medusa was here, she would definitely recognize them. These four people were all famous terrifying existences in the mythological plane. Their notoriety was innumerable. They were one of the 5 mythological devils. The great devil Tianlu was the master of the old spirit-devouring divine eagle. In the end, he actually died in the hands of his own spirit pet. If the people of the mythological plane knew of this, they would surely laugh their heads off. The second devil was Lin Chenfeng, the third devil was Lu Chen, the fourth devil was Kuang Shatian, and the fifth devil was Lu Chushu. The fifth devil was actually a woman, and she was quite good-looking. Her bones were filled with charm, and she was enchanting. However, the other 3 devils didn't dare to provoke her. It could be seen that she was a terrifying master. If anyone wanted to take advantage of her, not even their bones would be left behind. Lu Chen handed the divine herb over to Lin Chenfeng. Then, he used his terrifying divine sense to probe the surroundings. When he saw that the million dead spirits were about to reach the forbidden area, he sneered. He waved his hand and continuously formed seals. A sky-covering palm print tore through the heavens and earth as it smashed towards the army of dead spirits. Boom! The giant palm print attacked the great emperors in front without any warning. The shockwaves caused the mountains and rivers to collapse. The great emperors were shocked. They frantically dodged and escaped the killing move. However, the boundary emperors and ordinary dead spirits behind them couldn't escape. The giant palm print instantly shattered countless dead spirits, leaving no signs of life. The dead spirits were instantly enraged. They rushed towards the forbidden area from all directions. At this moment, there was no need for Yi Qinghan to instigate them. They were already fighting to the death. Kill! I've had enough of these bastards. Brothers, follow me and kill. Kill them and we can seize the divine herb. You can attain your Tao and follow me to the mythological plane. Boom! 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 Immortal light soared into the sky. Colorful sword lights covered the sky. The attack of millions of dead spirits was something that even a peak great emperor wouldn't be able to withstand. Moreover, there were more than 30 real great emperors. The gate of the forbidden area was destroyed. There was no order. The group of people pushed forward, pressuring Lu Chen until he was forced to retreat. These divine herbs were nurtured with our vitality and blood. They were originally ours. Now that we want to take them back, these vicious old things will stop us. What do you think we should do? Feather Sky Emperor roared. Kill! Kill! Among the millions of dead spirits, none of them were below the immortal realm. There were dozens of great emperors and countless boundary emperors. They used their actions to demonstrate what the day of Nirvana was. The forbidden area was almost destroyed. Even with 3 terrifying existences working together, they still couldn't withstand it. Giant palm prints and sword chi constantly appeared in the sky. The divine whip tore through the space above the forbidden area and smashed into the dead spirit. Instantly there were countless casualties. The dead spirits were in a frenzy. The great emperors opened a path and rushed towards the depths. The mountains collapsed and the array was broken. The array of the entire forbidden area lost its effect. The 4 demons could no longer control the forbidden area. The divine herb flew into the sky and rushed towards the distance, hoping to escape this calamity. However, there were too many dead spirits. How could they allow the divine herb to escape? The forbidden area was instantly in a mess. They started killing each other. All of you, stop right there. Kill the 4 old monsters at the back of the mountain first. Those divine herbs won't be able to escape. Emo Zhengsha roared angrily. The chaotic dead spirit army immediately calmed down and started to attack the depths of the forbidden area in an orderly manner. The forbidden area was surrounded by the dead spirit army. They were getting closer and closer to the mountains. Boom! The 3 demons worked together. Heaven and earth were reversed. Yin and Yang collapsed. A terrifying attack killed a great emperor and countless dead spirit. The dead spirit's casualties were absolutely tragic. In just a short period of time, almost 100,000 of them died. They lost 2 great emperors and countless boundary emperors. Yi Qinghan looked at the forbidden area from the back and revealed a cold smile. He didn't care about the divine herb that flew into the sky. Good kill. Lin Chenfeng, you'd better be beaten half to death. This divine bird will kill you with my own hands and refine you alive in order to avenge my father's death. The parrot's feathers stood on end as it roared furiously. Don't be impatient. They didn't hurt their foundation. At the very least, we have to wait until both sides are injured and have no chance to counterattack before we make our move. Yi Qinghan said hoarsely. In the forbidden area, the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. The heavenly river was upside down and the great Tao rumbled. However, at the edge of the endless universe, the armies were facing each other. The battle wasn't as intense as here. The mecha civilization and spaceships could easily destroy a planet. Boom! Emperor Killer erupted. A sword pierced through the clouds and tore apart the heavens and earth. It directly slashed apart more than 10 spaceships. The spaceship's energy was attacked and directly exploded. Countless mechas nearby were destroyed. Experts flew into the sky, blocking the vanguard team of the mechanical civilization. Super experts were facing off against 7-star mechas. Their combat prowess was absolutely terrifying. Mechas kept on exploding in the sky like dazzling fireworks, causing the Milky Way to be extremely beautiful. The experts fell, and their blood splattered everywhere. Boom! Chitian Monkey King transformed into a golden body. With a single strike, the 7-star mechas were smashed apart. Sikong Qingjuan's golden jade thunder god's staff commanded lightning and thunder. It directly pounced into the group of mechas. The mechas didn't shatter, but the people inside were directly electrocuted to death. They fell one after another and crashed into the dead planet. Xiao Gu Qingyu controlled the Tianwu battle sword. Not to mention 7-star mechas, even 8th-grade mechas could be pierced through. He was invincible all the way and disrupted the mecha army's deployment. Shen Kei's killing move didn't have much effect on the mechas. He had no choice but to retreat and defend himself. He was unwilling. This was a battle of merits, and everyone wanted to contribute. Unfortunately, he didn't have the chance. The people of the insane sect were the most powerful, and Xia Ziluo was even more powerful. She crushed a mech with one hand, and even the galloping spaceships with their energy shields activated could not escape. She killed so much that the mechanical civilization was terrified. Shino Qinyan ate spirit fruits and sat lazily on the palanquin as she watched the battle. She didn't care at all. Ghost Emperor, rush to their headquarters and capture the commander for me. Otherwise, Yi Qinghan will say that I'm not doing my best. Shino Qinyan stretched and said lightly. Planet Lord Pan Jia thought that this would be a simple task, but he didn't expect the other party to be prepared. The huge mecha army was actually stopped for 3 days. There were experts everywhere, and all of them rushed over. The mecha army was slaughtered like babies. Go and ask for more reinforcements. Mobilize the 7-star mecha army and kill those elite cultivators. Pan Jia roared angrily. Planet Lord, the rear replied that the 7-star mecha army is gathering. They will arrive tomorrow at the latest. A big man cupped his fist and said, A bunch of trash. Whoever kills that person with the lightning rod will be rewarded with an 8th-grade mecha and promoted to a captain. Pan Jia pointed at Sikong Chengjunqing. He was the one who caused the most damage to the mechas. Wherever the golden jade thunder god's rod went, the mechas would lose their ability to fight. Sir, the only way to deal with him is to use the super long-range energy cannons to kill him. However, we will suffer a huge loss if we use the long-range energy cannons for a single person. If the upper echelons find out, they will definitely be furious. One of the experts reminded. The super long-range energy cannon was used to deal with a powerful planet. One shot could definitely blast a powerful planet into pieces. Using it to kill Sikong Chengjunqing was like using a cannon to kill a mosquito. It was a waste. Stop talking nonsense. Get the army to retreat and prepare the energy cannon. Kill him. Planet Lord Pan Jia said coldly. Yes. Everyone was helpless and could only nod in agreement. Woo woo woo. The strange sound of a bugle horn echoed through the mountains and rivers. The mechas all retreated in an orderly manner. Don't chase a cornered enemy. We are just delaying for time, buying time for the illusion formation at the rear. Di Shang ordered everyone to retreat. When the Ghost Emperor saw that the situation had stabilized, he could only retreat. Swish, 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 swish. Several hundred huge flying shuttles appeared in the air above the enemy camp. They seemed to be in a formation, revealing a huge opening. It was as though a terrifying monster was about to rush out from the depth. Not good. They want to activate the energy cannon. Disperse, all of you, disperse. Increase the distance by 10,000 miles. Dong Wang Yu's eyes narrowed in disbelief. These experts were few in number and their speed was fast. There were no life planets here. He didn't understand why the commander wanted to activate the energy cannon. When everyone heard this, they instantly fled like crazy. They increased the distance between them and tried to find a chance to dodge the attack. However, no matter how Sikong Qingjun dodged, the cannon's muzzle was still locked onto him. Dong Wang Yu was astonished. He couldn't help but curse the mecha commander for being trash. The commander actually used the super long-range energy cannon just to kill one person. Chapter 429. The Forbidden Land was a sea of fire. White bones turned into ashes and flew with the wind, covering the sky. Great emperors dyed the sky red with blood. Yin and Yang reversed, and the great Tao rumbled. The entire endless space could feel the murderous aura. Yi Qinghan clenched his fists, and a cold light shot out from his eyes. He wanted to rush up and help. The undead spirits were at a disadvantage now. So many great emperors led millions of undead spirits, but they were actually stopped by 3 devils. However, that mountain was about to be destroyed. Without the barrier, Lin Chenfeng and the others could not escape. Dogs hit. A bunch of dogs hit. So many people are attacking, but they can't take it down. Bastards! The parrot was exasperated. It did not hate the undead spirits, but it really hated Lin Chenfeng and the others. Don't worry. Deciding the outcome now is not good for us. Let's wait until they kill to the end. Let's see how many will be left. Yi Qinghan grinned and sneered. I'll think of a way to make this fire burn brighter. The parrot racked its brains and began to fall silent. Eastern wasteland, blazing mountain. The adult golden crow was tumbling in the depths. A large amount of 9th-grade fire essence was swallowed, and the temperature of the blazing mountain became even crazier. The entire eastern wasteland fell into a scorching hot period. The little golden crow could not forget the spirit-devouring godly eagle. It had not seen it for hundreds of years, and it missed it very much. Whoosh! The little golden crow streaked across the sky and rushed out of the eastern wasteland. It was like a blazing sun that could be seen clearly from 10,000 miles away. Brother, I'm coming to find you. The little golden crow could not forget this impostor brother of hers. A strand of divine sense covered the area, and it was constantly approaching the center of the area. Following the parrot's aura, the little golden crow chased all the way to Emperor Abyss City. It swept across the sky, and Medusa was shocked. Golden crow divine bird. I didn't think that this plane would really have such a creature. Medusa said to herself. What is this golden crow? Why is sister losing her composure? Emperor Yi asked curiously. It is a true divine bird, an existence that can surpass 10 grades. Medusa murmured. This creature was her natural enemy, and its flames were enough to burn her to death. The little golden crow looked into the distance, and found Yi Qinghan and the parrot behind the mountain rock. So, it immediately descended to the ground, and crept forward on tiptoe. It continued to approach Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan suddenly felt as if his back was on fire. His hair stood on end, and without looking back, he took to the skies. The little golden crow had forgotten that its body temperature was very high. If even this could not alarm Yi Qinghan, then Yi Qinghan's combat strength was too weak. Yi Qinghan rushed into the sky and hurriedly looked back. It was actually the little golden crow standing in the place where he was just a moment ago. He couldn't help but be surprised and delighted. He hurriedly descended to the ground and hid again. I didn't expect you to grow so quickly. I didn't even notice you until you were so close to me, Yi Qinghan said happily. Ahem, you actually discovered me. I wanted to give you a surprise. The little golden crow said in an aggrieved manner. Don't, brother. Your body temperature can only kill me. It can't give me a surprise. The parrot curled its lips. It kept a respectful distance from the little golden crow, and didn't dare to approach it. Brother, you are still so afraid of fire. But, you are getting whiter. The little golden crow was very envious. It looked at its dark golden feathers and was somewhat dissatisfied. The parrot rolled its eyes and secretly sighed that the little golden crow was very simple. The little golden crow was very different from the parrot after it grew up. It didn't even realize that it was fooling it. Little golden crow, why didn't you practice in the mountain of flames? Don't you know that it is dangerous outside? Yi Qinghan asked in a low voice. I miss you. There is no one to talk to me in the mountain of flames. It is very boring. I wanted to come out long ago, but my parents told me that I can only leave the mountain of flames when I am an adult. So, I came out. The little golden crow's intelligence was still very low. Perhaps it was too simple. It didn't have any sinister experience. It trusted Yi Qinghan very much. Well, stay with me. Don't run around. The endless universe is not safe these days. There is danger everywhere, Yi Qinghan said in a deep voice. Danger? How can this group of people be so ugly? They don't even have flesh and blood. The little golden crow curiously looked at the depths of the forbidden area, and asked doubtfully. They are not people. They are dead souls. They live by devouring the essence of life. If you meet such people in the future, just kill them. Don't ask too much, Yi Qinghan reminded. Oh, let's go in and kill them. I will burn this place down. The little golden crow said excitedly. Don't. I am still counting on them to kill those 4 old monsters in the depths of the forbidden area. Yi Qinghan quickly grabbed the little golden crow. White smoke was coming out of his hand, and his body was almost ignited. He immediately released his big hand. His face twitched and he almost screamed. F***CK. Can you control your body temperature? Yi Qinghan whispered. The little golden crow shook its head awkwardly. Only now did it understand why its brother didn't like to be close to it. Yi Qinghan was helpless. He focused on the depths of the forbidden area. The battle had reached its climax. Waves of blood soared into the sky and rushed to the outside world. The Emperor blood destroyed the mountains. Half of the great sovereigns were gone. There were only 20 left, and a few of them were severely injured. However, the 3 demons, Lu Chen, was severely injured. He was pulled out by the Silver Wolf Demon Emperor and was eaten by the dead souls in an instant. Kill! The dead souls became more and more courageous as they fought. However, the experts in the depths of the forbidden area had endless secret technique. Every move was vicious. Mountains and seas were moved. A grain of sand could crush a dead soul, and a leaf of grass could penetrate a boundary emperor. The battle was not one-sided. This was the situation that Yi Qinghan wanted to see. The forbidden lands could be destroyed as easily as blowing off dust. Lin Chenfeng was bathed in divine light and became stronger. His divine sense quickly recovered, and all the profundities of the laws appeared around him. Old Lin, hurry up. We can't hold on any longer. Lu Chuxua trembled and panted. Her trembling breasts were enough to make a man's wild nature erupt. Lu Chen is already dead. These dead souls are crazy. Damn it, I'm going to kill them all. Huang Shatian was furious. He put his palms together and crossed them. A fireball appeared in his palms. It grew bigger and bigger like a scorching sun. He pushed it out fiercely toward the dead souls. Whoosh! The fireball expanded to tens of thousands of feet and rolled toward the outside world. It crushed everything in its way and turned everything in its path into nothingness. Boom! The remaining great sovereign frantically counterattacked. The force of the counterattack sent Huang Shatian, who had exhausted his true yuan, flying. He crashed into a mountain and the mountain collapsed. His body was also torn into pieces, and he had completely lost his ability to fight. With another demon emperor gone, the pressure on Lu Chuxue multiplied. She started to retreat frantically. She was sent flying by the counterattack and coughed up blood. At this moment, Lin Chenfeng stood on top of the collapsed Iron Mountain. He grabbed the sky with his 10 fingers and smashed toward the army of dead souls. Boom! The forbidden ground was destroyed. Less than 1/3 of the millions of dead souls were left. Half of them were killed by this attack. The great sovereign coughed up blood and was sent flying. It was as if the universe was destroyed and the wilderness was reborn. Yi Qinghan sucked in a breath of cold air. This Lin Chenfeng was indeed powerful. He was far more powerful than the others. He was like a god who controlled the world and could not be disobeyed. A bunch of ants. You actually listened to a lowly bird and went against the will of this god. If it wasn't for me, you would all be dead. Boom! Lin Chenfeng began to counterattack. He punched through a great sovereign's body and the shockwaves shattered thousands of sub-sovereigns. Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. It seemed like he had underestimated these existences from the middle space. Even if their cultivation was severely injured, they were still stronger than the great sovereigns. Let's go! Yi Qinghan saw that there was no chance and immediately retreated. They sped all the way back to Emperor Abyss City. Emperor Yi and Medusa were still waiting for them. Medusa looked at the golden crow and her eyes shrunk. She began to hide behind Emperor Yi. Master, what's the situation in the Forbidden Ground? Emperor Yi asked anxiously. The dead souls are crippled. However, among the 4 old monsters, 1 is dead and 2 are severely injured. Only Lin Chenfeng still has the strength to fight. After this, he won't dare to take the initiative to attack. At least, he can buy us 100 years of time. Yi Qinghan said with satisfaction. Then Emperor Yi asked. Wait. We must not let the defeated dead souls escape into the depths of the boundless universe. Kill every single one that escape. We must not let them live. Yi Qinghan said ruthlessly. However, Lin Chenfeng's eyes were bloodshot. Almost everyone below the great sovereign level was killed. The remaining 10 or so escaped frantically. There were still 7 great sovereign dead souls left. The demon wolf great sovereign, sky feather great sovereign, and the others took the opportunity to escape from the forbidden ground. Die! Lin Chenfeng was enraged. He stretched out his hand and grabbed at the demon wolf great emperor who was outside the forbidden grounds. His huge hand pressed down and smashed the demon wolf great emperor into smithereens. His life force was instantly devoured. With this delay, the other 6 great emperors rushed out. However, before they could react, Yi Qinghan's reincarnation mirror was activated. A ray of destructive light shot out and engulfed 3 of them. Feather Sky roared furiously, Yi Qinghan, what are you trying to do? Of course I hope you're all dead. Yi Qinghan forcefully blocked Feather Sky Emperor. The reincarnation mirror swept out crazily, causing heaven and earth to collapse. The endless black hole directly swallowed Feather Sky Emperor. When the little golden crow saw that there was a commotion, it immediately turned into a ball of scorching sun and swallowed the flames in its mouth, engulfing the other great emperor. At this moment, the great emperor was severely injured, so how could he have the chance to fight back? As soon as he was touched by the level 9 divine flame, he was immediately set ablaze. A mournful roar of anger shook the mountains and rivers. The great emperor tumbled, smashing through the city walls. Even the Emperor Abyss City was set ablaze. Whoosh! After Yi Qinghan killed Feather Sky Emperor, he used stellar transposition to cut through the sky and blocked the last great emperor who was in a sorry state. Die! A saber slashed through the sky, shattering space and time. Its aura was extraordinary, as if an overlord had descended. The moment the saber slashed out, Yi Qinghan's body flashed with the shadow of a snake. The multicolored snake turned into a swimming dragon and took advantage of the blinding saber light to approach the half-crippled Great Emperor without leaving a trace. The Great Emperor was enraged. As the saying goes, when a tiger falls to the plains, it will be bullied by dogs. Now that he was in his twilight years and had just experienced a great battle, he didn't dare to face Yichinghan's attack head-on. He turned around to dodge, but it just so happened that he met the multicolored snake head-on. Poochie, the multicolored snake effortlessly broke through the Great Emperor's defense and directly drilled into his body, crazily devouring his blood and chi. The Great Emperor screamed and slapped at his wound. However, the multicolored snake sped through his blood vessels and had already dodged. Boom! The Great Emperor directly shattered his physical body, and his soul left his body. Just as he was about to escape, he was surrounded by a ball of fire. There was no escape for him, and he was quickly annihilated by the flames. His mournful roar of anger caused heaven and earth to howl in grief. The remaining boundary emperors were stopped by Emperor Yi. In the end, only a few boundary emperors escaped from the imperial region. There was nothing to fear. Chapter 430. At the endless border, energy raged as a flaming dragon spewed out from the black hole. It rushed into the galaxy and drowned a dead star. Sikong Qingjuan's pupils shrank as death descended from the sky. Even the alternate space was flattened, and there was no way to escape. He met Jin Yen in his despair. The two looked at each other and could not help but laugh bitterly as they watched the terrifying energy sweep towards them. Many experts were drowned and completely gave up on struggling. They held hands and prepared to welcome death. Whoosh! A peerless divine figure broke through the shackles of time and space. Not only did it not escape to the periphery, it rushed towards the center of the energy and grabbed at Sikong Qingjun. The mountains and rivers rolled backward as the energy drowned everything in front of them. It also drowned Sikong Qingjun and Jin Yen. It also drowned that figure. However, no one noticed that the figure was even faster than the energy blast. It carried Sikong Qingjun and Jin Yen straight into the clouds. The heroes were enraged, and the crazy ones went berserk as they attacked the enemy's headquarters from both sides. Kill! A group of madmen rushed towards the headquarters, the battle weapons in their hands wreaking havoc. Shino Qinyan fled in a sorry state. Her body was like charcoal, and even her hair was burned. At this moment, icy flames shot out from her eyes as she pointed at the Ghost Emperor and shouted, "Go and capture their commander and bring him to me. If you can't capture him, don't come back." Roar! A shrill roar was heard as the Ghost Emperor took to the sky and flew thousands of miles in an instant. Wherever he passed, Mecha would crash. He went straight for the headquarters, and a single punch could penetrate a giant spaceship with a radius of 1,000 meters. The Ghost Emperor, who was the king of solo soldiers, rushed into the group of mecha and headed straight for the headquarters. Report. On the dead star, a scout rushed into the headquarters of the mecha troop. Pan Jia shouted angrily, "What's the matter? An Emperor-level expert has appeared and is heading straight for our headquarters." The scout said hurriedly, "It's just an Emperor-level expert. This old man doesn't put this kind of existence in his eyes." Pan Jia was disdainful. He then said, "All 7-star mecha, follow me and take him down." Die. The Ghost Emperor was too fast and did not give the other party a chance. He arrived at the headquarters in the blink of an eye and punched through the defense. Many people did not have time to move their mecha before their bodies turned into blood mist. Boom! Pan Jia sensed death and quickly activated his mecha. Even so, he was still struck dizzy by this punch. His mecha tumbled a few times before crashing into a withered mountain. The mountain collapsed and buried his mecha under the impact. Whoosh! The Ghost Emperor's sharp claws tore through the mecha and directly grabbed Pan Jia out. With him in a flash, the mecha army's morale was instantly thrown into chaos. The ghost emperor left, but Yi Qinghan appeared, holding Sikong Qingjun and Jin Yan's hands. He smiled and said in a hoarse voice, "You two, stop hugging each other. When this is over, I will hold a dual cultivation ceremony for you two. Now, follow me and destroy these mechas." Sikong Qingjun and Jin Yan had escaped death. They looked at each other and smiled. Then, they followed Yi Qinghan and charged into the enemy army. Lightning covered the Death Star, and the people inside the mecha were directly electrocuted to death. A large number of mecha were corpses. Yi Qinghan entered the battlefield, and the situation became one-sided. The Thunder origin was vast and mighty, and a large number of mecha fell. Coupled with the loss of morale, Dong Huangyu blended into the enemy army and directly announced his surrender. A large number of mecha soldiers were captured. When the people of the insane sect saw that Sikong Qingjun and Jin Yan were not dead, they could not help but breathe a sigh of relief. A large number of human soldiers arrived and detained the mecha soldiers. Their mechas were taken away and all of them were transported to the rear. The 10 million strong army was either dead or injured. In the end, less than 30% of them escaped. In the headquarters at the rear, Shenong Qinyan was flustered and exasperated. She directly stuffed a poison pill into Pangea's mouth. At this moment, Pangea's windpipe was sealed and he could not roar. He twitched and rolled on the ground, and his eyeballs almost popped out. Shenong Qinyan smiled evilly and said coldly, "This is the first time this queen is in such a sorry state, and it's all thanks to you. If I don't teach you a lesson today, I am not worthy to be Shenong's descendant." Pangea was bleeding from all 7 orifices. He knelt on the ground and begged, but he could not say a word. Yi Qinghan and the others returned to the rear and saw that Pangea was tortured beyond recognition. They immediately shrugged their shoulders. Sikong Qingjun even rushed forward and crushed Pangea's ankle. A dignified expert was actually tortured to the point of fainting. "All right, wake him up, but don't kill him. I still have some questions to ask him," Yi Qinghan said indifferently. "I'll leave him to you. Give him to me after you ask him. I haven't taught him a proper lesson yet," Shenong Qinyan said coldly. Everyone trembled. He was already tortured to this extent, and she still said that she had not taught him a proper lesson. When she did teach him a proper lesson, would Pangea still be human? Whoosh! Yi Qinghan flicked his finger, and a wisp of wood element hung on to Pangea's flame of life, saving him. Pangea immediately screamed and cursed in anger. "You bunch of bastards! Just you wait." Before Pangea could finish his sentence, his pupils suddenly shrank and his body convulsed. He was in so much pain that his eyes were about to split open. His heart suddenly stopped beating, but he did not faint. Yi Qinghan's lips curled up and said indifferently, "It seems that your bones are quite tough. I have many ways to deal with people with tough bones. Why don't you try them one by one? I want to see how long you can endure." Every inch of Pangea's flesh and blood was crushed. Yi Qinghan's control was extremely precise. It was a complete torture to the soul, causing despair. "Ho ho ho! Please, spare my life, kill me!" In an instant, Pangea's divine sense was in chaos. He was begging for mercy and death. "Be obedient and I will fulfill your wish," Yi Qinghan said coldly. "Tell me, how many troops are there at the rear? What kind of troops are they based on? When will they attack? Who will be leading them?" Yi Qinghan asked coldly. "There are many. The mechanical civilization has mobilized their entire army. 6-star mechas as the base and 7-star mechas as the vanguard." Pangea no longer dared to show off his ability. He answered every question without hiding anything. Yi Qinghan clenched his fist. He could not find such a powerful mechanical civilization. At this time, Lu Outyen walked over and whispered, "The rear deployment has been completed. We should be able to deal a heavy blow to the mechanical civilization." "Yes, order the others to retreat." Everyone above the god-martial realm from the mad sect will stay. We will lure the mechanical civilization into a trap. Yi Qinghan nodded. In the mechanical civilization's star field, the ruler was furious when he heard that the vanguard unit was almost completely wiped out. Trash. An army of 10 million can't even hold on for 3 days. How can martial artists be so strong? The emperor of the mechanical civilization glared at the commander of the military department and asked coldly, "Is it the martial artists who are strong or is it you who are useless?" Pangaea's request for reinforcements has already reached the military department for a day, and the 7-star mechas only just started mobilizing. What are you all doing? The commanders of the military department lowered their heads, not daring to look directly at him. Even if you don't say anything, I know why. I'll remember what happened today. If you make a similar mistake again, everyone involved will be executed, including Commander Xianlang. When the emperor was angry, corpses would float for thousands of miles. His aura suppressed the heroes and made them not dare to move. My emperor, I am willing to lead the troops to avenge this humiliation. Su Chang was from the military department of the mechanical civilization. He was young and promising. At the age of 30, he was able to pilot an 8-star mecha to perfection and was doted on by the mechanical emperor. This person was cruel and merciless. He once slaughtered an entire planet by himself and was known as the Slaughterer Marquis. Hence, he was given the title Marquis Su by the emperor. He was the first marquis with a different surname. The mechanical emperor nodded and was very satisfied with Su Chang's performance. He dared to take the initiative to ask for battle at the crucial moment. Good. Su Chang, you will lead 300,000 7-star mechas and 10 million 6-star mechas. You must avenge this humiliation. I will also assign you 8 8-star deputy commanders. They will listen to your orders. You must use actions to prove that our mechanical civilization is stronger than the martial arts civilization. The emperor said in a deep voice. Yes, my emperor. Su Chang accepted the order and left. He gathered the troops and began to head out. In the palace, a man in black quietly appeared and said with a hoarse voice, "My emperor, the 7th prince has come out of seclusion. Just as my emperor expected, his physical body has successfully evolved into an emperor physique. He has gathered most of the special physiques and bloodlines. However, some of the special physiques and bloodlines have yet to fully appear. He may still need to evolve and cultivate artificial special physiques and evolving the physical body to an emperor physique." One had to admit that the mechanical civilization was very terrifying. "And the rest of you leave." The emperor nodded and waved his hand, indicating for everyone to leave. Only the man in black was left. Can the god creation plan be implemented? The emperor stared at the man in black and asked in a deep voice. No problem. The 7th prince didn't feel any discomfort. His performance was abnormally strong. An 8-star mecha was torn apart by his hands. He could even penetrate the energy cannon with a punch. He didn't even need to transform into armor. The man in black said excitedly. Did his life force extend? Or is there any depletion? The emperor asked again. The 7th prince's vitality far surpasses my emperor. The depletion of his vitality is even slower than an emperor physique. If you can gather more powerful special physiques and bloodlines, my emperor will definitely be able to live forever. The man in black replied. Good. Let little 7 come and see me. The emperor's eyes flashed as he asked excitedly. The man in black retreated. The emperor of the mechanical civilization paced around the palace. His emotions finally fluctuated. Soon, the man in black brought a handsome young man. His vitality was restrained, but it was still terrifying. His eyes were filled with dominance and coldness. A flash of light flashed and disappeared. He knelt on one knee, cupped his fist, and said, Father, I didn't let you down. I have successfully tested the medicine. Good. Little Seven didn't let me down. Today, I will give you another mission. Once you complete it, you can come back and be conferred the title of Crown Prince. The Emperor's face was filled with approval as he nodded. The young man lowered his head. His emotions were calm. An evil smile appeared on his face, but it quickly disappeared. Thank you, Father. I will go through water and tread on fire without hesitation. The seventh prince replied respectfully. Among the princes, other than the fourth prince, you are the only one with potential. Such an important mission can only be given to you. The Emperor smiled. The ruthlessness in his eyes turned into gentleness. He said hoarsely, "Bring people to the endless universe to capture powerful special physiques and young emperors. I want them alive." Yes, Father. The seventh prince stood up and replied. Remember, the capture operation must be carried out secretly. Don't let them be on guard. The Emperor was very satisfied with the seventh prince's attitude. He then said, "You can choose any 8-star mecha warriors of the younger generation. From now on, they are your private soldiers. There is no need to return them to the military." Chapter 431. In the main hall, the Emperor of the Machine Civilization took out a list and handed it to the seventh prince. This is the report from our spies. All the names of the younger generation with powerful blood chi or special physiques in the endless universe are listed here. Their combat power, secret techniques, weaknesses, and everything else is listed here. I hope you can capture the top 10 on the list within 3 years, the Emperor said solemnly. The seventh prince took the list and glanced at it. The first place was Yi Qinghan, second place was Si Wuxia, and third place was Emperor Yi. Almost everyone from the insane sect was on the list, and their rankings were not bad. There were a total of 100 people, and the insane sect took up 12 of them. The seventh prince took the list and left. When he turned around, the Emperor of the Machine Civilization did not see the evil smile on his face. It was hair-raising. Tap, tap, tap. The seventh prince took the list and entered the military headquarters. He asked for 20 young experts by name. All of them were from the Eagle faction and had been promoted from the poor. Their desire for status was extraordinary, and they relied on their own strength to achieve it. Yi Zichen, Wang Yuesheng, Muku, Leng Sha, the seventh prince looked at the 20 young people in front of him and said in a deep voice, "From today onwards, you are my personal guards. I will lead you to conquer the universe, and each of you will be an overlord. However, those who dare to betray me will have their entire family annihilated." "We are willing to serve the seventh prince." Yi Zichen and the others knelt on one knee and cupped their fists. The seventh prince's lips curled up as he muttered in his heart, "You want me to serve you as a guinea pig? 30 years in the east, 30 years in the west. Sooner or later, I will drag you down from your high and mighty throne. The 20 people you gave me today will be my foundation." At the edge of the universe there were countless small planets, but there were not many experts. True experts would not stop here. Su Chong pushed his way through, and all the planets with life were forcefully crushed. He began his iron-blooded revenge. Yi Qinghan frowned and thought to himself, "This General Su Chong didn't fight me first." Instead, he sent a small team to attack the small planet from the side and kill the creatures. "It seems that he wants to infuriate me." Yi Qinghan thought for a moment and said to Di Shang, "Master, take some people and wait for the army here. Order the other super-class experts to disguise themselves and enter the planets with life. Kill the other teams one by one." "Where are you going?" Di Shang asked. This Su Chong is really bold. He actually dared to leave the barracks and fight in person. I'll go find him and kill him first." Yi Qinghan took the little golden crow and flashed away, rushing towards the border star field. The Literate star was one of the life planets in the border star field. It was extremely ancient and there were many powerful ferocious beasts on it. There were very few humans and the majority of them were mortals. There were no powerful cultivators. This place was filled with an ancient aura. The flames of war were unceasing and the smoke of war rose everywhere. Mechas constantly flew through the sky and landed on the ground. Mortals cried and hid in the mountains and forests, praying for the gods to appear and for the great emperor to be reborn. A great emperor had once been born here, so the planet was protected by the great emperor formation. It had not been damaged even now. The cannon fire could only destroy a mountain at most. Great Emperor Wenshang, your people beg you to return. Descendant of the great emperor, your people beg you to revive and fight for our race. How could a mortal dynasty deal with such a mecha civilization? One mecha could sweep through an area, not to mention that the mecha teams were in groups of 10. They were invincible. The Wenshang great emperor's family had already declined and disappeared in the river of history. People could only pray, but no one could answer their requests. In a barren mountain range, there were no other human experts except for ancient forests and flying beasts. However, in the depths of the forest, there were two people, one old and one young. The old man was past his prime and had white hair. The young man was young, only 13 or 14 years old. However, he held a divine spear in his hand. He looked majestic. His handsome face did not have the slightest trace of childishness. Instead, it had an unconcealable sense of maturity. He did not look like a 13 or 14-year-old child at all. Only his eyes were filled with coldness, loneliness, and wildness. The spear's body was filled with the power of the great Tao. Without the Wenshang great emperor's bloodline, it was impossible to control it. The old man was called Dragonskar and the young man was called Uncle Wen. They had lived here in seclusion for many years and had never come out. They were the last bloodline of the Wen clan. There were only two people left in the declining imperial clan. It could be seen how hard they had been through these years. They lived here in seclusion to protect the clan's great emperor weapon, which was the spear in Uncle Wen's hand. Dragonskar was Uncle Wen's Tao protector. Perhaps he was the only one left on the Literate planet. Seeing the planet in danger made his heart ache. Uncle Wen, I'm going out. If I don't come back, don't come out of the forest. Do you understand? Dragonskar said. Grandfather, if you want to go out and fight for them, I want to fight too. Uncle Wen held the spear. He was not willing to let the old man fight alone, even if he was only his butler and Tao protector. Child, you must remember the clan's mission. Do not be impulsive. The tiger-striped soul-reaping spear cannot be revived now. You must wait. In the future, it will definitely lead you to the path of Tao. Dragonskar's white hair fluttered in the wind. He was a descendant of the Wen clan. No matter what era it was, he would not lose his pride. Remember, you must pass down the glory of the Wen clan. Otherwise, how will you have the face to meet your ancestors? The old man decisively left. He donned his armor and held his spear. He once again stepped into the battlefield of the strong. He pierced through a mecha that was speeding towards him with his spear. He stepped into the air and charged towards the battlefield. Uncle Wen held the Emperor's spear tightly. His 5 fingers pierced into an ancient tree beside him. In an instant, the vitality of the ancient tree was completely devoured. The tree withered as if it had been dead for 10,000 years. The devourer physique could devour the essence of the world. Iron essence, divine medicine, and even the memories and secret techniques of the enemy. There was no need to cultivate. It could be used for one's own use. This was the most terrifying physique in the ancient times. Boom! Dragonskar roamed the world with his spear. Every spear reaped the lives of his enemies. He killed so many mecha squads that they exploded. They were like beautiful fireworks that lit up the sky. When clan's ancestral land. How dare you behave so atrociously? Shio 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 shio, every spear reaped the soul. With a flick of his finger, he could turn a withered branch into a spear. He could actually penetrate the defenses of mechas. More than 10 7-star mechas fell in an instant. Boom! The distress signal bomb exploded in the void. The mecha squads fled frantically to buy time for the reinforcements. The One Clan is here. We are saved. People knelt on the ground and cried. Their bodies were covered in blood. Most of it was the blood of their family members. The fire burned down the houses. Even the main hall of the human race's palace was set ablaze. The emperor personally knelt on the ground and led his people to pray for blessings. Although the old man was past his prime, his vitality had been ignited. He could still fight against the heavens and the earth. He displayed the glory of the emperor's family in the past. 3 squads of elite mecha warriors were powerless in front of him. As time passed, the old man's vitality began to deplete. His combat strength became weaker and weaker. His skin wrinkled. The flame of his life was about to be extinguished by the strong wind at any time. Hua! Su Chong personally piloted an 8-star mecha and appeared. He tore through space and time and punched out at Dragonscar's back. Boom! Dragonscar directly counterattacked. His spear was like a rainbow that could destroy everything. He ruthlessly smashed at Su Chang's mecha. The 2 flaming dragons instantly collided. The shockwaves surged into the sky and rolled out in all directions. Countless creatures were shattered by the shockwaves. Blood mist filled the sky. Pooh Dragonscar was too tired. His spear had exhausted all his vitality. He coughed out blood and flew backward. He fell into the crowd. Everyone was in despair. They cried out loudly. Unfortunately, no one responded. Thud thud thud, Su Chong took 1 step at a time and dissipated most of the force. However, he wasn't injured. At this moment, the corner of his mouth curled up. He sneered. You're not waiting for death at home. You actually dare to block my path. Die for me. Boom boom boom. Su Chong moved as if he was flying. He leaped up and ruthlessly smashed into the crowd. If this punch landed, no one within 100 miles would be able to survive. Dragonscar's eyes were about to split open. He gripped his spear tightly and charged into the sky again. He used up the last bit of his life essence and completely erupted. His true peak combat strength was revealed. His spear pierced through Su Chang's mecha's iron fist. His aura surged into the sky. His withered body actually blocked all the aftershock. He didn't hurt anyone. Boom! Su Chong was smashed and flew backward for a few hundred miles. However, the mecha's defense was heaven-defying. He who was inside was unharmed. Only the mecha suffered some damage. It didn't affect his combat strength. Dragonscar fell to the ground and knelt on 1 knee. He no longer had any combat strength. His eyes were blurred as he waited for death. Hurry up and escape. There's no chance. Dragonscar shook his head and sat cross-legged on the ground. He couldn't struggle anymore. No. Living beings were all hot-blooded. The One Clan had sacrificed too much for the literati star. The living beings were grateful and automatically surrounded Dragonscar. They used their flesh and blood to build a defense. Even the mortal emperors joined in. They were unafraid of death and glared at Su Chong, who was charging towards them. A bunch of ants. Kneel down and submit. I'll spare your lives. Su Chong looked at the ordinary living beings in disdain. There wasn't even a Tao sovereign. How could they fight with him? Tens of thousands of people didn't move. They stood in front of the old man. Interesting. Let's see if your willpower is really that strong. Su Chong kept his mecha. He held a long sword and walked towards the crowd. Pucci, the sword pierced through an old man's body. Su Chong revealed an evil smile. Disperse. I won't kill you. Su Chong teased them, wanting to make Dragonscar despair. However, he was disappointed. No one left. They continued to guard the old man. Pucci, Su Chong was enraged. He stabbed out with his sword again and again, cleaving them apart. Blood flowed like a river and white bones could be seen everywhere. However, no one was willing to retreat, not even a child. They kept looking at him with cold eyes, which angered his perverted heart even more. Go away. You can't defeat him. I'm already old and will die at any moment. It's not worth it for me. Dragonskar felt guilty. He couldn't save the people of the world. Instead, they had to block the sword for him. Ha ha, what an interesting person. Let's see how long you can last. Su Chong pulled out his sword again, and slashed at a woman in front of him. Boom. Hua. A white light flashed from behind. Uncle Wen attacked with his spear and stabbed at Su Chong. Su Chong smiled in disdain. He instantly turned into his armor. He stomped on the ground and punched at the monarch weapon. Uncle Wen was too young and couldn't unleash the power of the monarch weapon. However, he was still sent flying a few hundred meters away. Uncle Wen was sent flying continuously. He couldn't control his body at all. Su Chong was furious. He stood up slowly and started to mobilize his energy. A cannon appeared in front of his chest. The destructive energy made people despair. Run! Uncle Wen, leave this place! Dragonskar roared in anger. It's too late. Su Chong attacked. The energy beam with a destructive aura shattered the ground and blasted towards Uncle Wen. It arrived in front of him in an instant. He didn't even have the chance to dodge. Uncle Wen was in despair. Dragonskar was in despair too. The people of the world were in despair too. However, at this moment, a shadow condensed and blocked in front of Uncle Wen. A look of disdain appeared on his face. He raised his hand slightly and mobilized the profound of heaven and earth. 5 dragons appeared and coiled in front of him. Divine light shot out and blocked the attack. Chapter 432. The 5 dragons coiling the sky directly devoured the energy, shocking Su Chong and everyone else. Yi Qinghan waved his hand and the 5 dragons disappeared. He stepped forward and looked at the mecha with disdain. Su Chong, I didn't go to the military camp to look for you, but you came to me yourself. It would be impolite of me to refuse. Yi Qinghan's smile made many people feel at ease. They felt that they would be safe with him here. You're just an ant. Do you really think that you can stop me just by doing this? Su Chong asked coldly. Actually, in my opinion, aren't you an ant as well? Remove your armor and come with me, Yi Qinghan ordered forcefully. You're courting death. Su Chong leaped up and viciously smashed into Yi Qinghan. Boom! Yi Qinghan transformed into his golden body and grabbed the fist that was descending from the sky. With a flip of his hand, he pressed down on the mecha and forced it to kneel on the ground. The ground cracked and a 1,000-feet-long fissure appeared. No matter how Su Chong struggled, he couldn't move Yi Qinghan's hand. Uncle Wen's eyes widened and he took a deep breath. He looked at Yi Qinghan's back as if he was a god who could control the world with one hand. Remove your armor. Boom. Yi Qinghan exerted force and pressed Su Chong into the ground. The earth elements rushed over, and the terrifying pressure was enough to crush a quasi-emperor. Su Chong, who was in the mecha, was bleeding from all 7 orifices. The light in his eyes disappeared and his soul was in a mess. The armor was automatically removed. He was too strong. There was no superfluous words, no superfluous moves. Just that iron hand alone was enough to suppress a terrifying mecha warrior to the point that he could not resist. Uncle Wen swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and his eyes were filled with admiration. The spear in his hand seemed to have sensed something. It trembled slightly, and let out a long cry that shook the world. Yi Qinghan lifted Su Chong up and slapped him until he fainted. Then, he turned around and looked at the little fellow in surprise. He realized that the little fellow was actually holding a monarch weapon in his hand. Moreover, his physique was also very strange. The surrounding spiritual energy automatically flew into his body, and even the 5 elements that he controlled were devoured by him. "What kind of constitution is this?" Yi Qinghan muttered. "The physique of devourer!" the parrot exclaimed in shock. "This little guy has the physique of devourer. AI. Master, you've picked up a treasure. He can definitely corroborate the Tao. There's no doubt about it. Even if there are grand emperors in this world, he can still corroborate the Tao. Woo-woo, delicious food." The little golden crow tore through the void and quietly appeared beside Yi Qinghan. It looked at Uncle One with a drooling expression. "Delicious my ass. You can't hurt him. If you do, Big Brother won't let you off." The parrot glared angrily at the little golden crow. Uncle Wen's body trembled. When he saw the little golden crow's expression, he couldn't help but take a step back. He gripped his spear tightly and glared at the little golden crow. "Fellow Taoist, cough cough cough." Dragonskar coughed up blood and stood up with difficulty. The crowd parted as he walked towards Yi Qinghan. "Fellow Taoist, please accept Uncle One as your disciple. He definitely won't disgrace Mister's teachings." Yi Qinghan looked at the old man in front of him. The old man's flame of life had been completely extinguished. He had only survived because of his last breath. He didn't trust Uncle One. If Uncle One wasn't handed over to someone he could trust, he wouldn't die. AI. Yi Qinghan sighed. The death of such a hero was too sad. "Mister, your eyes are clear and you pity the heavens. You just quietly appeared. There was no need to save anyone, but you still saved Uncle One. You are worthy of this old man's trust. Mister, please extend a helping hand so that this old man can leave in peace." Dragonskar bowed and begged. "Mister, please teach me." Uncle One knelt on one knee. "Master, take him in. Hurry up and agree," the parrot said frantically. Yi Qinghan nodded. He waved his hand and helped Uncle One and Dragonskar up. "Old Mister, you can leave in peace. I will definitely nurture him into a true great emperor." Dragonskar smiled. He sat down on the ground, his white hair hanging down. His body transformed into motes of light as he left. "Grandfather!" Uncle One pounced towards Dragonskar's body, but he missed. He was stunned. "If your grandfather can leave in peace, then let him leave in peace. If you want to protect your loved ones, then you have to be strong. Otherwise, your loved ones will leave one by one like this," Yi Qinghan coldly said. During these years, just how many loved ones had disappeared from his side? Yi Qinghan was used to seeing the joys and sorrows of separation. His heart was already calm. Whoosh, Yi Qinghan didn't say anything. He grabbed Uncle One and Su Chang and rushed into the distance. Countless miles away, in the headquarters of the human race, Yi Qinghan threw Su Chang in front of everyone. He forced the mecha out and let Dong Wang pilot it. "Use this mecha to send a message. Tell the mecha troops to gather at the designated location. The location is the Dead Star region." That place had been set up as hell. At night, miasma would fill the sky. One wouldn't be able to tell the direction. Even divine sense wouldn't work, let alone the mecha radar. When Su Chang woke up, he was shocked. He roared in anger. "Let go of me! You dare to kill my warriors? My race's emperor will definitely destroy the entire universe. I will wait for him to descend. At that time, I will use your mecha troops to deal with him. I wonder how he will feel." Yi Qinghan sneered. Su Chang's body trembled. When he thought of that scene, the mecha race would definitely feel that he had betrayed them. Then, his people would all be killed. "No. You can't do this." Su Chang roared in shock. "Can't do this? Back then, when you massacred the defenseless commoners, did you ever think that you can't do this as well?" Yi Qinghan asked in disdain. "War is like this. Once it starts, there's nothing that can't be done. I'll let you die at the very end. Once you receive news that your clansmen have been killed, I'll send you on your way to meet your clansmen." Yi Qinghan waved his hand, indicating for him to be taken away. Dong Wang Yu rapidly operated his mecha and continuously gave out orders. A large number of mechas gathered and rushed over. Everyone retreated, allowing them to pass unobstructed. The mecha troops didn't have any doubts. Su Cheng's prestige was very strong. No one would have thought that he had already been captured. The news that they received was actually a fake order. Hence, the speed of their attack was very fast. After half a day, they arrived at the Dead Star region. A huge planet appeared in front of the mecha troop. There were withered trees everywhere on this planet. White bones could be seen everywhere, and the atmosphere was very gloomy. This is the place. Set up camp here and wait for my king's orders. Although a vice commander was puzzled as to why Su Chang chose this place as his base camp, a subordinate didn't have the qualifications to question his superior. The hierarchy of the mecha civilization was like the cultivation realm of martial cultivators. Boom! Tens of millions of soldiers rushed into the Dead Star. They started to clear the ground and set up camp. Under the scorching sun in the west, the setting sun illuminated the space-time, looking exceptionally beautiful. Danger loomed over the area as fog gradually rose. Are the magnets ready? Yi Qinghan looked at the Dead Star and asked Lu Outyan. Yes, they are ready. They will be able to suppress them until they can't move. Lu Outyan smiled. At this moment, Roger walked over and cupped his fists. Lords, the magnets are ready. We can carry out the plan at any time. The fog grew thicker and thicker. The commander of the mecha troops felt that something was wrong. He kept on sending messages to ask about Su Cheng's whereabouts. Dong Wang Yu only replied with a simple sentence, "Wait for orders." Swish, 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 a large number of Lulan soldiers appeared outside the Dead Star. Every one of them was wearing simple green clothes and didn't even have a sword. They carried a huge piece of magnets and flew towards the Dead Star. The Lulan army was everywhere. Hundreds of millions of magnets were flying towards the Dead Star region. When they were 1,000 meters away from the ground, the radars of the mecha troops couldn't detect anything. Everything was covered in fog. Release. Lu Outyan gave the order. The hundreds of millions of soldiers smashed the magnets on their hands onto the ground. Boom, 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 the Death Star mountain crumbled and the earth cracked. The shock waves shattered the dead trees. Some of the magnets directly smashed into the mecha, pinning it to the ground. Piece by piece, the magnets piled up like a mountain. A huge mountain rose from the ground. The mecha troops couldn't fly up and couldn't move. They could only struggle on the ground. The magnets interfered with everything. Even the energy cannons couldn't be used. The Lulan army retreated, waiting to reap the lives of the mecha troops. Yi Qinghan wasn't in a hurry. He said to everyone, "Wait here. Kill whoever flies up. If they surrender, cripple their cultivation and break their sea of qi. Let them be mortals." After speaking, Yi Qinghan directly returned to the headquarters. Uncle Wen stood alone in a corner with his spear. He was wary of everyone. Even the parrot couldn't get close to him. He grew up with Dragon's and always hid. His personality was similar to Emperor Ye's. He was antisocial and lacked trust. Shino Qingyan looked at Uncle Wen curiously. She noticed that the spirit energy in the surroundings was disappearing. Even the essence in the hall was being devoured. She couldn't help but scratch her head and said, "Could he have the devourer physique? Little brother, come over to elder sister. Elder sister will give you some candy." Shino Qingyan took out a saint-grade supreme treasure medicine and tempted. "She is a liar. Don't listen to her. Come over to me. I will give you some flame essence to play with." The little golden crow swallowed the 9th-grade flame essence, and almost set the hall on fire. "Who are you calling a liar? Don't think that you can spout nonsense just because you are a golden crow. I have seen your ancestors in the past." Shino Qingyan said angrily. "You old witch. You actually lived for so long. Elder brother was right." The little golden crow looked at Shino Qingyan with disdain. "Pfff. Emperor Yi, Medusa, and the others in the hall all spat out their tea. Shino Qinyan, on the other hand, directly vomited blood. Her eyes almost popped out. "Who is your elder brother? Which bastard taught you to speak like that?" Shino Qinyan was so angry that she was trembling. If she wasn't afraid of being ignited by the 9th grade flame essence, she would have rushed over and fought the little golden crow. Yi Qinghan shook his head and stepped into the hall. He sat beside Emperor Yi and looked at Uncle Wen, who was standing in the corner. He stretched out his hand and said, "Uncle Wen, come over here. Pay your respects to your master." Uncle Wen seemed to have a lot of faith in Yi Qinghan. Back then, the sight of Yi Qinghan's back had shocked him. Yi Qinghan had pressed the powerful mecha to the ground with one hand. A man like that had always been his dream. Uncle Wen came in front of Yi Qinghan and knelt on the ground. He kowtowed 3 times and said respectfully, "Disciple Uncle Wen greets master." Chapter 433. Yi Qinghan looked at the respectful Uncle Wen, and a faint smile appeared on his face as he reached out to help him up. "This is your senior sister. You can trust her and respect her from now on. She will be responsible for teaching you. Do you understand?" Yi Qinghan pointed at Emperor Yi and said, "Uncle Wen greets senior sister." Uncle Wen looked at the peerless beauty in front of him. Her white hair draped over her shoulders. Her smile was as gentle as a mother's, making people feel at ease. He could not help but want to get closer to her. "Yes, Uncle Wen. Don't be shy in the future. The insane sect is your home. When the war is over, I will introduce you to your senior brothers and sisters." Emperor Yi knew Uncle Wen's identity and felt a sense of closeness. Perhaps it was because they were in the same boat. He rubbed Uncle Wen's head and said softly. Uncle Wen pursed his lips. He wanted to dodge, but in the end, he accepted Emperor Yi's pity. "I don't know the secret techniques of the Wen clan. I have nothing to teach you." Yi Qinghan looked at Uncle Wen and thought about his secret technique. He found that the battle formula was very suitable for him, especially with the tiger-striped soul-seizing spear. He said, "I will teach you the 2 most powerful secret techniques, Wind Mark and the battle formula. I promised your grandfather that I will train you with all my strength. Don't disappoint me and don't disgrace the glory of Emperor Wenshang." "Yes, master." Uncle Wen held his spear tightly and bowed. "If you want to cultivate, you must first train your body. Training your body is an extremely painful process. You must be prepared." Yi Qinghan stood up and brought Uncle Wen out of the hall to the martial arts field. Emperor Yi, Shenong Qinyan and the rest followed. "I have a saint-level body training divine pill. Do you want it?" Shenong Qinyan took out a divine pill. It was golden and filled with divinity. It was definitely a priceless treasure. Yi Qinghan was overjoyed. Body training divine pill. This was the best thing for training one's body. Coupled with the fire tempering, Uncle Wen's body would definitely reach its peak state quickly. "Why aren't you thanking the fairy?" Yi Qinghan unceremoniously took the godly medicine and gestured to Uncle Wen. Uncle Wen hurriedly said, "Thank you, fairy." Shenong Qinyan smiled proudly and looked at Emperor Yi provocatively, as if she was trying to steal his favor. Emperor Yi's lips curled up. With a wave of her jade-like hand, the divine zither appeared in her hand. She sat cross-legged on the ground and murmured, "Senior sister doesn't have anything to give you. I'll just give you a song. I have a body tempering technique that can temper every bone, every muscle, and every cell in the body. It can increase the flexibility of the body to the maximum. When attacking an opponent, you can freely change the direction of the attack and change the moves as smoothly as flowing water. It can increase a cultivator's combat strength by 3 times. Medusa also stepped forward and took the initiative to express her goodwill to Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan's eyes lit up. Uncle One was really lucky to be able to receive the nurturing of three great beauties. Crimson body tempering technique. It is not correct to call it a secret technique. It is just a kind of dance that can soften the bones, just like a snake that can twist at will. Medusa looked at Uncle One and said confidently, "An ordinary person's bones have already been shaped and cannot be cultivated. For example, Brother Yi. Even if his talent is heaven-defying, after cultivating to this realm, he can no longer cultivate the crimson body tempering technique. However, Uncle One is different. He is young and his cultivation is weak. Everything can be reshaped. I don't have any magic power, but I can still do these movements." After Medusa finished speaking, she began to dance her body. Her body was like water, soft and boneless. The movements of her enchanting body caused Yi Qinghan's blood to churn and his dragon blood to boil. It was too terrifying. Medusa's brows were naturally formed. Even if she had lost her magic power, if she wanted to confuse people, it would be a piece of cake. Medusa's body was like a snake. She could change her posture at will. Her posture looked extremely strange, but it contained the understanding and use of every bone. With a light push of her palm, the seemingly weak Medusa could cause spatial fluctuations. This was the explosive power of her physical body. Emperor Yi and Shenong Qinyan were dumbfounded. This kind of woman who was charming to the bone made them envious and jealous. If everyone could be like Medusa, what man in the world couldn't they conquer? Yi Qinghan shrugged. This kind of posture was impossible for him to do. Emperor Yi and Shenong Qinyan could learn it, and so could Uncle One. Although Shenong Qinyan and Emperor Ye's cultivation were strong, they were still women. Their bodies and bones were soft to begin with. They were naturally very compatible with this kind of body tempering technique. Soon, the two of them started to learn. The beginning was very painful and difficult. Not many women were like Medusa, dancing the secret technique so beautifully and so charmingly. So enchanting. Uncle One also started to learn. At first, he was very unfamiliar with it. Coupled with the fact that this secret technique was too charming, he was a little embarrassed. Yi Qinghan nodded and encouraged. This kind of secret technique is hard to come by. First, soften your body. Later, I will help you temper your body. Yi Qinghan then left the training ground. He looked at the four people dancing in the distance. He nodded slightly. Then, Roger came with the order. "Sir, the rear has been cleaned up. 8 million were captured alive. There are still 6 million intact mechas. The rest were smashed," Roger said regretfully. "And destroy the Sea of Qi of all the captives and send them to the various planet." Yi Qinghan said decisively. "As for the mechas, hand them over to the strongest people in Lu Lan's army. Let them learn how to operate them. 1 month later, we will impersonate Su Chang and return to the mechanical civilization's star field." Yes. Roger was excited. Such an important task was given to him. Yi Qinghan obviously trusted Lu Lan very much. This might be the difference between a direct descendant and a collateral descendant. Go. After this matter is done, return to the imperial domain and report to the Kuang sect. Yi Qinghan nodded and said. Roger's eyes flashed. He bowed and left. Half a day later, all the strong cultivators returned. Seeing the few people cultivating in the training ground, the female cultivators rushed to the training ground like crazy and started to cultivate as well. Only Xia Ziluo snorted in disdain. In her eyes, there was no such thing as enchanting. Women should not lose to men. Jin Yen and Zi Fei all followed after him and began to imitate him. Xikong Qingjuan's eyes never left Jin Yen. Yi Qinghan smiled faintly. Now that the Forbidden Land was basically useless, the mechanical civilization would soon be eliminated. The endless universe was about to return to peace. The Tao proving contest would not affect the Kuang sect. Therefore, it was time for some people in the Kuang sect to get married. It was also time to announce Emperor Ye's matter. What do you think? Do you like it? Yi Qinghan put his arm around Sikong Qingjuan's shoulder and deliberately teased him. What do you mean by like it? What do you mean? Sikong Qingjun pretended to be stupid and did not dare to admit it. Although he was so old, he still did not know what to do about this matter. Cut the crap. I've known you for so long. I know what you're thinking. If you like it, don't pretend. Do you want a girl to take the initiative? Yi Qinghan said disdainfully. Ahem. Sikong Qingjun was embarrassed. Everyone laughed at him. Gu walked over with a wretched look on his face. He looked at Yi Qinghan and said, I also like someone. Why don't you set us up? Yi Qinghan raised his eyebrows. Seeing this expression, he knew that it was definitely not something good. He asked, Who is it? Your sister, my brother-in-law. Ha ha ha. Gu laughed. Yi Qinghan rolled his eyes. He shrugged and said, If you have the ability, then go after her. If you do, I'll hold a dual cultivation ceremony for you. Everyone laughed. Yi Mingxi had been in seclusion for a long time. Besides occasionally coming out to play, she was nowhere to be seen. Everyone, are you interested in cultivating the Devourer's body together? Yi Qinghan brought everyone to the martial stage. He pointed at Uncle One and said, Devourer's body. Everyone was surprised. Many people had never heard of this system, but there were also some people who understood it, and because they understood it, they were shocked. Yi Qinghan smiled. He did not explain. He placed a body-refining divine pill into Uncle Wen's body. Uncle Wen quickly swallowed all the medicinal properties, cleansing his muscles and marrow, and condensing his blood. Mobilize your true essence. Condense your body. Purify your blood and true essence. Yi Qinghan waved his hands and a fire surrounded Uncle Wen. Yi Qinghan thought that Uncle Wen would scream in pain, but he was disappointed. Uncle Wen's body had actually swallowed his flame essence. Yi Qinghan was speechless. He mobilized some swelling earth. As soon as it touched Uncle Wen, it was swallowed. There was nothing that Uncle Wen couldn't swallow. Yi Qinghan became more and more shocked. He casually took out a quasi-emperor weapon material and placed it in Uncle Wen's hand. He said, Let me see you swallow it. Uncle Wen grabbed the material and desperately tried to absorb its essence. Although the effect wasn't great, the essence was still desperately drilling into his body. Yi Qinghan nodded. Uncle Wen's cultivation was too low. It was normal for the 5th-grade flame essence that he had just used to be swallowed. After all, it couldn't harm him. As for the swelling earth, it wasn't harmful to humans, so Uncle Wen could also swallow it. As for the more powerful materials, the process was much slower. If there are any low-level materials that you don't need, give them to Uncle Wen. He has a supreme treasure devourer body. His cultivation is too low, so he needs a massive amount of low-level resources. Yi Qinghan looked at everyone and took the initiative to ask for them. Everyone wasn't stingy. They naturally gave him a meeting gift. All the supreme treasures below 7th grade were thrown over, filling up the entire martial stage. These resources were enough to form a powerful army. Uncle Wen, devour all of these and then come find me, Yi Qinghan said in a low voice. Uncle Wen's eyes were filled with light. When he was young, he didn't have any resources and had to rely on swallowing the spiritual qi of small animals. Now that Yi Qinghan had provided him with so many resources, it would be hard for him not to improve. Thank you, Master. Thank you, seniors. Uncle Wen said respectfully. I finally have a junior brother. Zifei jumped out happily. She was the youngest in the Kuang sect. Now that there was an even younger one, she was overflowing with motherly love. Yi Qinghan brought everyone away and discussed how to quickly deal with the mechanical civilization. Mr. Yi, in order to reduce unnecessary losses, I feel that we should first capture the leader. Send a large number of experts to infiltrate the main star of the mechanical civilization and directly capture the emperor of the mechanical civilization. This is the fastest way to solve the problem, Dong Wang-yu suggested. He really didn't want to directly start a massacre. The death rate would reach a terrifying number, and it might even affect the civilians. Chapter 434. Dong Wang-yu's suggestion made everyone's eyes light up. The endless universe could no longer withstand any more twists and turns. If they could end the battle quickly, that would be the best choice. Yi Qinghan said in a deep voice, "Use Su Chang's name to send a message to the mechanical civilization. Tell them that you have captured several top experts from the insane sect alive. Tell them that the others have fled. Brother Lu and the others will lead Lu Lan's troops and pretend to flee. Roger will be in charge of the mecha troops and pretend to be their troops. All the super experts will follow the troops and escort me, Qingyu, and the others back to the mechanical civilization. Mr. Yi, if you capture the Emperor of the mechanical civilization alive and defeat the mechanical civilization, how will you treat the mechanical civilization?" Dong Wang-yu was a little worried. After all, the two civilizations were incompatible. Although he did not like the way the mechanical civilization did things, it was still a mechanical civilization. All sinners will be sent to the immemorial purgatory. You will be the judge. I will not interfere with the mechanical civilization. I hope that the mechanical civilization can develop normally. However, do not treat the martial arts civilization as an enemy. Yi Qinghan reassured Dong Wang-yu. Dong Wang-yu looked at Yi Qinghan gratefully. The world he wanted, his father could not give it to him, but Yi Qinghan could. The plan was quickly implemented. Everything was in order. The mecha troops chased after the martial arts elites led by Lu Outyan and fled. Yi Qinghan was chained by several black gold chains and pulled by more than 100 mechas. He could not resist at all. Other than the higher-ups, no one knew that this plan was a trap. Therefore, the endless universe fell into a panic. Many people moved and fled to the depths of the universe. When the Emperor of the mechanical civilization learned that Su Chang had captured Yi Qinghan and the other experts from the insane sect, he immediately asked him to retreat and protect Yi Qinghan back to the mechanical civilization. Everything went smoothly. His deep trust in Su Chang caused him to fall into a crisis. Emperor Yi brought Medusa and the others and fled with the army. Uncle Wen was also taken away. Only Jian Qinshue, Xia Ziluo, and the other super experts followed. The mecha troops escorted Kuang Zong and the others to the mechanical civilization. With the Imperial Emperor's orders, they ran all the way to the center of the mechanical civilization without any checks. Su Chang's mecha was the clearance document. Who would have thought that Su Chang had already been captured? On the main planet, the Emperor of the mechanical civilization had already prepared a celebratory feast in advance, waiting for the hero's triumphant return. Report. King Su has arrived at the main planet. Waits call, a scout reported. Order the military to let them pass. The mechanical civilization's emperor was excited. Now that the god creation plan could be carried out, Su Chang had sent him a high-grade bloodline. This made him a little dizzy. Sure enough, Su Chang's army galloped all the way to the imperial city. The army set up camp, and 300 mecha warriors escorted Yi Qinghan into the city. Yi Qinghan's body was in tatters, and he was in a sorry state. His Xian gold chains were almost broken, and he attracted a lot of attention. The emperor led troops and personally came to welcome the hero personally. Minister Su, you've worked hard. The emperor of the mechanical civilization laughed. To serve the emperor, I'm willing to die 1,000 times. Dong Wang-yu changed his voice and sounded a little excited. It was very similar to Su Chang. Even if there were some flaws, the trembling of excitement was enough to hide everything. Even if Su Chang had made a great contribution, he would still be this excited. Dong Wang Yu's understanding of people's state of mind was very accurate and did not attract anyone's attention. Go back to the palace and rest. Tomorrow I will reward you well. The Emperor of the Mechanical Civilization nodded slightly and waved his hand. Soon, Su Chang threw out Jianqinxue, Gu Qingyu, Tan Wuxie, Nie Tian, Zitian, and the others from the insane sect. Their sea of energy was sealed, so they were not seriously injured. Xia Ziluo and the other mecha went straight to Su Chang's palace. As soon as they entered, they controlled everyone and killed them, replacing them with their own people. There were no hidden dangers in the palace. The 300 mecha soldiers were all top-notch superclass. Shin Kai, Chitian Monkey King, and the others were all here. They were hiding in the palace, waiting for the right time. In the Emperor's hall, the Emperor of the Mechanical Civilization looked at Yi Qinghan and laughed. Yi Qinghan, I have heard of your great name. I hope Mr. Yi won't blame me for inviting you here today. Yi Qinghan snorted and said, The winner is the king and the loser is the bandit. Since I was captured, consider me useless. No, no, no. I have specially investigated Mr. Ye's combat strength. Even Su Chang praised you and said that if it wasn't for the successful sneak attack, we wouldn't have been able to take you down. The Emperor of the Mechanical Civilization said happily. If you want to kill me, then kill me. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Could it be that you want me to surrender? Yi Qinghan was curious. This Emperor of the Mechanical Civilization didn't seem to have the intention to kill him. Hence, he tried to probe. Ha ha ha, such a good bloodline. Wouldn't it be a pity to kill you? The Emperor of the Mechanical Civilization clapped his hands and more than 10 powerful men in black appeared. All of them were existences whose physical bodies had reached the pinnacle. Take them to the testing grounds. I want to remodel as soon as possible. The Emperor of the Mechanical Civilization took the lead and stepped out of the hall. He led everyone to the testing grounds outside the palace. Inside the testing grounds there were eerie white bones everywhere. There were blood troughs everywhere and all kinds of experimental equipment. Yi Qinghan glanced around and was very curious about what these people were doing. Hence, he kept his patience and didn't make a move. Very quickly, everyone was taken to a separate sealed space. There was a huge pool that was very clean. All kinds of equipment had never been seen before. Yi Qinghan guessed the use of the equipment based on the words of the Mechanical Civilization. He couldn't help but be surprised that this so-called Mechanical Civilization was so powerful. They didn't need to cultivate and could forcefully seize the bloodline of special constitutions and quickly evolve to the overlord rank. Sure enough, a large group of researchers came forward. When they saw Yi Qinghan and the others who were full of vitality, they were immediately excited. Their perverted hearts didn't treat them as humans at all. They treated them as lab rats. Are these people enough? The Emperor asked excitedly. My Emperor, it's enough. The blood of these people is enough to support you to recover to the peak and grow into an immortal comparable to a great emperor. An old man with a face full of wrinkles looked at Yi Qinghan and the others with a covetous face. Good. When can we create a god? The Emperor asked in a deep voice. Today. The technology is now mature. It won't delay your morning court session tomorrow. The old man said respectfully. Then let's begin. The Emperor said impatiently. Yi Qinghan understood everything. He directly broke the seal on his sea of qi and used the black gold chain to lock the Emperor's throat. He then slammed his palm on the Emperor's back. The terrifying 5 elements poured into his body. He could kill the Mechanical Civilization's Emperor with just a thought. Yi Qinghan's speed was extremely fast. Even the Emperor couldn't react, let alone the others. Gu Qingyu and the others broke free from the chains and directly killed everyone in the laboratory. The Emperor was stunned. What? You think Su Chang can really catch me? You are looking down on martial cultivators too much. Yi Qinghan said coldly. Su Chang betrayed me. The emperor was furious. However, he was frightened by Yi Qinghan's cold gaze. You guys are really daring. You dare to enter the mechanical civilization's main domain. Even if you catch this emperor, you will die here. Let me go and this emperor will grant you a lifetime of wealth and glory. The emperor threatened recklessly. Ha ha ha, you are looking down on us too much. If I wasn't fully prepared, do you think I would stake everything on this one throw? Yi Qinghan laughed. His facial muscles began to change. Soon, he turned into the mechanical emperor. Even his voice was exactly the same. You are a god. The emperor was shocked. He didn't know what to do when he saw that the person in front of him had turned into himself. I am not a god, but I am not someone you can deal with. Yi Qinghan pointed his finger at the emperor's forehead and forcibly stole his memory. He knew that the 9-star mecha was completed, but the materials were insufficient. There was only one mecha and only the emperor could use it. He couldn't help but sneer. Seal this place. I will go and get the 9-star mecha. Yi Qinghan's lips curled up. He directly chopped off the emperor's hand and sealed it. He walked out of the laboratory and ordered no one to go near it. He went straight to the treasury and opened the armory. The 9-star mecha was placed in the deepest part. It was like a golden battle armor that could be used as an armor. Even if an ordinary person used it, they would have the battle strength of a great emperor. A true peak great emperor that didn't know fatigue. Yi Qinghan used the emperor's hand to change part of the program. Then, he put on the 9-star mecha. The mecha was cumbersome. Even if it was a soft armor, it still weighed 1,000,000 jin. An ordinary person wouldn't be able to use it. Even the emperor couldn't wear it for a long time. Hence, it had been placed in the armory. Who would have thought that Yi Qinghan would benefit from it? Yi Qinghan transformed the mecha into a soft armor. It wasn't light, but it didn't affect his battle strength. It was just right for him. After getting used to it, he didn't have any problems using the mecha. He left the armory and used the emperor's identity to order all the military leaders to bring over a large number of files. He wanted to investigate the character of these people. However, he found that not many of them were normal. Bloated organizations and unscrupulous officials. Each one was worse than the last. Boom. Yi Qinghan made a move without any warning. He crushed all the military leaders with one palm. Blood mist filled the palace and made everyone panic. Order all the captains to gather in the palace. The emperor's order was quickly transmitted to the various divisions. Dong Wangyu was summoned in his true body. Thousands of people were sent to the Great Hall. Yi Qinghan looked down at everyone. This attitude of being in control of everything made him feel a little smug. He couldn't help but shake his head and mumble to himself, "No wonder he is so arrogant. So, it's all because of the throne." The captains were all people stained with blood. Yi Qinghan basically didn't want to investigate and directly killed them. After that, he summoned the Kiliarchs, then the Centurions. The higher-ups were all killed by Yi Qinghan one by one. Blood flowed like a river. Everyone was panicking. The military had a complete change of blood. After that, an order was sent out that made the lower ranks of the military excited. Finally, the morale of the military was stabilized. The order to select a high-ranking official suitable to manage the military was sent to the various divisions. The right to choose was given to the lower ranks of the military. With the support of the military, the chaotic situation of the mechanical civilization finally calmed down. Dong Wangyu, this unfamiliar name, exploded in the military. The commander-in-chief of the military was actually a stranger. Very soon, Dong Wangyu's identity was investigated. His old subordinates were extremely excited and all came to visit him. Chapter 435. On the second day, the imperial palace announced that the emperor was in seclusion. The fourth prince would be the crown prince with Dong Wang Yu as his assistant. The seventh prince was ordered to return immediately. Everything was going according to plan. In fact, Yi Qinghan had left the mechanical civilization's star field long ago. Everything was handed over to Dong Wang Yu. The fourth prince was just a puppet. The military was controlled by Dong Wang Yu alone. The newly promoted people in the military were all from the martial cultivation civilization. The seventh prince was indeed smart. After he received the order, he knew that something had happened to the mechanical civilization or that the emperor was going to deal with him. Thus, he directly brought over 20 people and hid in the mountains, sneaking into a sect that had a history of 10,000 years. He started cultivating from the bottom and improved very quickly. He was deeply loved by the sect. Yi Qinghan didn't pay too much attention to the seventh prince. Instead, he led everyone back to the center of the imperial region. Right now, there wasn't a single person left in the imperial region. Everyone had fled to the back. Only a portion of the ancient killing gods were left to guard the ancestral land. Yi Qinghan clenched his fists and looked to the west. He said to Emperor Yi, "You guys bring people to guard the ancestral land. I will go to the Forbidden Land and see if I can kill Lin Chenfeng." With the 9-star mecha armor protecting his body, divine light soared into the sky. With the reincarnation mirror in his hand, Yi Qinghan fought against Lin Chenfeng in his peak state. If he could kill Lin Chenfeng, the endless universe would be at peace. "It's too dangerous for you to go alone. I will join forces with you." Emperor Yi was worried and wanted to go together. "No, your current strength is not enough. Also, I am only going to probe. If there's a chance, I will fight. If there's no chance, I will retreat." Yi Qinghan shook his head. "You stay behind and protect Medusa. I can't guarantee that others won't do anything to her." The little golden crow followed along. The west of Emperor Abyss City was completely destroyed. Corpses were everywhere and death chi permeated the air. The Forbidden Land was completely destroyed. Countless divine herbs flew into the sky. The Forbidden Land could no longer be called a Forbidden Land. At most, it could be considered a withered world that floated in the air. Lin Chenfeng seized all the divine herbs that didn't escape. For his own sake, he didn't even care about Kuang Shatian and Lu Chushuan. He directly devoured all the divine herbs, restoring his vitality to its peak state. Looking at Yi Qinghan from afar, a sinister smile appeared on his face. "Mecha! A 9-star mecha! After 1,000,000 years, it has actually appeared again." Lin Chenfeng stepped onto the edge of the forbidden area and stared coldly at Yi Qinghan. When he saw Zhong Kuang and the reincarnation mirror, he confirmed his identity and said calmly, "Yi Qinghan, you want to kill me? Use your brain before you do anything, unless you want us all to die, including all the living beings in the endless plains." Yi Qinghan stared at him from a distance. He retracted his mecha and looked at Lin Chenfeng with a frown. "I'm not from this plane. In the endless plains, the Great Emperor Realm is the highest realm. Once you surpass the Great Emperor Realm, you must leave this plane and head to the middle plane. Otherwise, the endless plains will collapse. Since I'm standing in the Forbidden Land, I won't affect the endless space. However, once I step out of this plane and use power that surpasses the Great Emperor Realm, the endless space will collapse instantly. All the stars in this space will be affected. Do you understand?" Lin Chenfeng said coldly, "So if you want to fight, I'll play with you. However, don't blame me for not warning you when the plane collapses." Yi Qinghan was a little doubtful of this news. However, the parrot rushed out of his body. Although it wanted to kill this bastard, it had to remind Yi Qinghan, he's right. Once his main body comes out, the great Tao of space here will be completely chaotic. There will be no order, and the entire endless plains will collapse. I don't want to fight with you for the time being and waste my life force. Let's talk about cooperation. If you help me leave the endless plains and head to the mythical plane, I'll give you an opportunity, Lin Shenfeng said calmly. I'm not interested. I can prove my Tao by myself. I don't need your help, Yi Qinghan replied coldly. However, if you want to enter the higher planes, you still need to cooperate with me. Now that this plane has been sealed by the mythical plane, unless you want to stop at the Great Emperor realm and become an overlord. Lin Shenfeng's lips curled up. He understood people like Yi Qinghan too well. They were obsessed with the pinnacle of the Great Tao and would definitely not be satisfied with the Great Emperor realm. Yi Qinghan sneered and said disdainfully, "You're not the only one who knows about the mythical plane. Medusa and the devouring spirit condor can enter the mythical plane with me. Why would I need to cooperate with you? Ha ha ha, ignorant child. You're courting death by cooperating with Medusa. You might as well cooperate with me." Lin Shenfeng warned coldly, "I think Medusa is indeed in the process of evolving. That F*King flight is because you're helping her from behind, right? So what if that's the case?" Yi Qinghan sneered. The tactic that day was the most classic tactic. It allowed the dead spirit emperor to counterattack the Forbidden Land. Both sides suffered great losses. The human race did not even need to lift a finger. Revenge was taken. Humph, you really don't know what's good for you. If you know what Medusa did in the mythical plane, you'll know how stupid you are now. She was also in the same state back then. She pretended to be pitiful and seduced a young master from an aristocratic family. He then hid her for a year. In the end, she succeeded in evolving, and the first thing she did was to slaughter the entire aristocratic family. She almost destroyed half of the plane. Lin Shenfeng was indifferent as he recalled what happened back then. He couldn't help but tremble as he said hoarsely, "Did she tell you that she could control herself and would never hurt you?" Yi Qinghan's heart was in a mess. Medusa was like a ticking time bomb that could explode the endless universe into smithereens at any time. Even if you don't say it, I know. She was exactly the same as she was back then. She tricked that young master until he wanted to dig out his heart and record his happiness on a metal scroll. But what happened in the end? She was much crueler than us. At least I wasn't interested in collapsing this space. But she definitely was. Lin Shenfeng continued. Yi Qinghan frowned and asked coldly, "Why didn't Medusa collapse the endless plane when she entered the endless space? Is her strength inferior to a great emperor? Did you see any fluctuation of laws when she appeared? Did she dare to use strength that surpassed a great emperor? She didn't dare to. If the plane collapsed, she would have no place to stand and she wouldn't be able to leave the plane. When it was time for her to evolve, she could only wait for death. But after this evolution, she might be able to leave. At that time, the first to die would be the people from the endless plane. The second to die would be me," Lin Shenfeng explained. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath and clenched his fist. He stared at Lin Shenfeng and asked seriously, "How can one leave the endless plane?" "Strength, speed, invincible strength, and the speed of lightning," Lin Shenfeng explained without hesitation. "You can't do it with your strength?" Yi Qinghan was surprised. This old monster's strength was already extraordinary, but he still couldn't leave the endless plane. "The damned mythical plane has set up a sealing formation at the entrance. With my strength alone, I can't break it. Even with my two friends, we still can't break free. We need one more person to be 100% complete. Moreover, once the seal is broken, we will have to face the enemies of the mythical plane. We don't have absolute confidence that we can succeed. Therefore, we need you to be crowned emperor. You have to cooperate with me before we can leave." Lin Shenfeng stared at Yi Qinghan and said with anticipation, "I'll think about it." Yi Qinghan didn't immediately reject or agree. He prepared to leave. "Yi Qinghan, you must listen to me regarding Medusa. Otherwise, it'll be too late for regrets," Lin Shenfeng roared emotionally. Yi Qinghan's breath stagnated. Lin Shenfeng's expression didn't seem to be fake. His heart was in a mess. He didn't want to make things difficult for Emperor Yi, and he also hoped that he could change Medusa. He didn't want to kill Lin Shenfeng, but if his expectations were wrong, the consequences would be unbearable. I know what I'm doing. But you better not leave the forbidden area. After I've confirmed my Tao, I'll cooperate with you. Once we leave the forbidden area, our cooperation will end. I can also enter the mythical plane alone. Yi Qinghan warned coldly as his figure slowly retreated. The dense aura of death covered the sky and earth, sweeping up thousands of miles of yellow sand. The chill was bone-chilling. Yi Qinghan disappeared into the yellow sand. Master, how do you plan to deal with Medusa? The parrot looked at Yi Qinghan expectantly, hoping that Yi Qinghan would listen to it. She saved my son, so I owe her a favor. Repaying kindness with enmity is not something I can accept. Yi Qinghan quickly stepped into the sovereign domain, moving faster and faster. The parrot sighed and could only give up trying to persuade him. The little golden crow didn't understand. It only knew that Medusa was very tasty. If it could eat her, its cultivation would definitely increase greatly. However, it didn't want to go against Yi Qinghan's wishes, so it didn't say anything and just flew silently. Don't worry, I'll definitely find a foolproof plan. Even if she wants to harm people, I can stop her. Yi Qinghan comforted. The sovereign domain welcomed its first great victory in a million years. The endless universe cheered and roared, establishing an immortal position. Even the myriad races established an immortal position for Yi Qinghan. Bits of faith power gathered, but Yi Qinghan didn't know how to use it. The endless dynasty didn't fall apart because of the arrival of victory. They just delegated power to each other appropriately. As long as it didn't endanger the foundation of the endless dynasty, they were allowed to develop. A large number of experts fell, leaving behind countless opportunities for the true elites to rise. Yi Qinghan didn't interfere with the rising elite. Instead, he quietly disappeared with Emperor Yi and the others. Even Gu Qingyu and the others didn't know where Yi Qinghan went with Emperor Yi and Medusa. A small border starfield, Owl Dragon region, Owl War planet. Yi Qinghan brought the two of them to Owl War planet. Looking at the boundless vitality of the planet and the countless lotus leaves swaying in the river, a sad smile appeared on his face. Now that he stood at the peak of the endless dynasty, it was a pity that his family wasn't here. He didn't even have a relative. He didn't know who to tell. Along the river, the three of them strolled among the dancing flowers. When the spring breeze blew, the flowers flew and butterflies danced. The water flowed and small fish swam against the current, pleasing to the eye. The little golden crow sped through the air and tumbled, creating huge waves. Then, the parrot also rushed out. The multicolored snake swam among the flowers and soon disappeared. Emperor Yi and Medusa kept following Yi Qinghan. Emperor Yi didn't think much of it and just quietly accompanied them. However, Medusa could feel the aura of death filling her eyes. She knew that Yi Qinghan wanted to kill her. Medusa, thank you for everything you've done for Owl War planet, Yi Qinghan said hoarsely. Are you going to thank me or kill me? Medusa asked in a muffled voice. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.